It's a new radio check. It is 2:15, and we are about to restart the endurance. The afternoon session will take place after final checks among the marshals have been made. We can already hear the first couple of cars that have started up their engines in the back.
Yeah, so we hope you all have had a good lunch break. We certainly did. We saw a couple of cars running out of order after the regular starting order that was published also on the Formula Student website. Are we going to see out of order running cars now, Thijs, or are we going to continue with the regular order as published?
Well, we've had all cars that were out of order this morning. So the next couple of cars that are lining up do seem to be in the right order. So first up, it's 265 from Wiesbaden. Right behind them, it's car 330 from Akron. Then it's the car from
I think that is Lund. I will check the car number.
Yep, it is Lund, car 214. There was some decals being covered up. Then car 343 from Konstanz, and behind them it is the Chinese team from Shanghai, 233.
Yeah, so this is probably a good moment to remind what we are doing here this afternoon. We will be looking at the afternoon session of the endurance race for the Formula Student Hockenheim competition. The endurance event, one of the many sub-events of this Formula Student event. It's also the biggest end race, if you will. This morning we saw a couple of cars driving, quite a lot. We also luckily saw a lot of cars finishing. And this afternoon, as the day progresses, hopefully also track conditions will improve, and also the speed of the cars is expected to be improved. The running order of the cars is determined based upon yesterday's event, which was the autocross event. In this autocross event, the sheer speed of the cars are measured. The very fastest cars of yesterday are expected to run at the end of the afternoon. The cars will drive 2 times 9 laps within between a pit stop. So maybe some people have joined us now at the live stream recently, or only chose to come to Hockenheim in the afternoon. We have in total 18 laps, 9 for the first driver, 9 for the second driver, within between a pit stop and a driver change. During this pit stop, there are several elements going on. Cars are allowed to take up to 3 minutes there while they change their driver, maybe also change their seat, or maybe also change their pedal settings or other ergonomics. And also during that switch, the technical inspectors will also check whether the car is still safe to run, whether there are no leaks, whether everything is still, well, on the car. We saw this morning a couple of cars actually driving around with, well, more or less flappy elements, right, Austin?
Yeah, we saw a few instances this morning where cars had some small-scale failures, so we'll say support brackets or wires or cables holding things together, which don't necessarily cause the car to fail the event. But they are checked and make sure they're safe before the car goes out, and if there's anything that's going to present danger, the stewards won't let them back on the track.
Yeah, I am amazed about the overall level that we saw this morning. Usually in the morning session we have the cars that had some difficulties in yesterday or in passing the technical inspection, the scrutineering beforehand. We were able to see quite a lot of cars drive, and more importantly we saw a lot of cars finishing this morning, so already the finish rate is quite successful, I think.
Yeah, regularly at the endurance event we see some cars that we haven't seen before, simply because they only managed to pass scrutineering on Saturday. For that reason there are a couple more cars scheduled for morning sessions than for the afternoon sessions normally. So this morning we had scheduled 55 cars. Of those, 35 cars actually showed up, 18 of which managed to finish the entire endurance. For the afternoon session, we have the remaining 45 cars in the combustion and electric class. Of course, there are a further 15 cars in this event, but those are driverless cars who have already had all their dynamic events.
Yeah, it is good from our perspective. We're, by the way, standing in the white double tent near the start-finish line. It is good to see the grandstands filling up, both on the infield. We can see all the sponsor stands from Volkswagen and Continental filling up. And we can also slowly see the Noordkurve big grandstands filling up. We now actually are wearing our sunglasses for the first time this weekend. I do, however, see some darker clouds. What do you think for the weather, Austin?
The last time I checked, which was admittedly before lunch, it looked like the rain was going to hold off and it was just going to stay cloudy. So while we might not have to wear our sunglasses, I think we won't have to use our umbrellas either.
So in this event, we can see a mix. So both the combustion and electric cars will be on track simultaneously. So it's not split up. They are all together. Trying to see which has the fastest car, but it's not only about speed. We can even say to finish first finish. This event is maybe a little bit more even about reliability.
Yeah, exactly, Steph. You need a car that's going to finish as quickly as possible and also as efficiently as possible, because efficiency is also another big area where you can get a lot of points.
Yeah, so in total today, more than 40% of the total amount of points, which are 1,000, can be gained. So this is a big and important day for most teams. I actually was informed during lunch that especially in the combustion class, it is at this moment very, very close. Unfortunately, we're not allowed, and actually we also don't know, but we're definitely not allowed to disclose final standings yet, or final points. But I was informed by one of the guys that it was really, really close. So anything can happen today.
This cloud well?
What?
This cloud well?
Yeah, this morning we had something I'd seen for the first time. We had several cars going around the track, all carrying at least one cone. It's the first time I've seen that happen, where cars have been carrying cones simultaneously. It was quite entertaining to watch from our point of view.
I think we had 3 out of 5 at one point.
Yeah, and one of those had 2 cones at the same time.
Yeah, and more importantly, there were several teams carrying a cone almost, well, in the first or maybe the second lap, all the way up until the end in driver change. Mostly, cars will lose the cone at some point.
Yeah, well, some of the cars had them lodged very well, very firmly under the car, or put entirely in the side pod. In the case of one car, even fully blocking the radiator, so lucky for them, that didn't cause any heating problems by the looks of it.
Yeah, also maybe for the families and friends joining in just now in the afternoon. There are a lot of cones on track. If you hit a cone, it will cost you 2 seconds. The lap time of this track is about 80, 90, 100 seconds, depends a bit on the speed of the car.
Faster ones should be able to lap around 70.
Yeah, correct. The faster one should be able to lap around 70. So you can hit a cone or more cones. What you also can do is go off track. Then the driver is able to, correct his or her move by going back in the track again at the same point or earlier. Then it will do not cost them any penalties. If they do, however, like cut a corner or don't re-enter in the correct place, it will cost them a very hefty 60 seconds, which is almost
20 seconds.
20 seconds, sorry, which is almost a third of a lap. So then it goes really fast. So yeah, meanwhile we see a car being pushed here. It is the TU Valencia car that drove this morning.
Yeah, they unfortunately already failed in the very first lap, I think.
Yeah, another reminder for those of you just tuning in, there's no wheel-to-wheel racing in Formula Student, and all the passing is done in the blue-coned designated passing areas. The driver in front will be shown a blue flag, and he has to pull into the blue zone so that the faster car behind can get past safely.
Yeah, so besides the blue and yellow cones we see a lot, there are also some orange cones in the middle of the track that are designated slalom areas, and the driver can choose how to do the slalom, so they can enter on the left side or on the right side, and it depends a little bit on, well, what is the best racing line. You can either choose to have a little bit of better corner exit in the corner before the slalom, or have a little bit of a better corner entry at the corner after the slalom. So multiple choices there. This morning the times were fairly far apart. I do expect, especially at the end of the afternoon session, that the times will really creep close to each other.
Yeah, I agree, Steph. I think we saw from Karlsruhe in their electric car just before lunch some low 70-second times. I think we can expect to see times in that range as we sort of get closer to the end of the cars running. This morning we saw times ranging everywhere from that all the way up to laps over 100 seconds. So there was a very wide range of cars competing this morning.
Yeah, well, the Karlsruhe guys were, of course, very fast. They were running, well, sort of out of order compared to where they normally would expect to be. But the other teams that were running towards the end of the morning session were also, most of them, running very close to the 80-second mark, some even below that. So I think we should expect most cars that are going to run from now on, which, of course, were faster in the autocross run than all the cars that ran this morning, to be able to match or even beat that. So I think most cars going forward will be able to lap around 80 seconds or quicker.
Yeah, the Karlsruhe team, we did relay already this morning the fun fact that actually their fastest lap of today is exactly as fast as the fastest lap we have seen last year.
And with that, Steph, I can see car number 265 US Rheinmain pulling up to the starting line. This is Scuderia Mensa. And I think you really enjoy this livery, Steph.
Yeah, it's hard to argue which country they represent. It's quite easily seen. They are just waiting for the marshal. They have the last microphone checks usually at this point. And he is now waving, so the afternoon session of the endurance race for the Formula Student 2017 Hockenheim event is off.
And a big power slide as he joins the track.
I'm really looking forward to this afternoon, Austin. We have seen yesterday in the autocross also very close competition. This morning also being very spectacular moves, very spectacular, well, also spectacular DNFs, unfortunately, but wow. What are we expecting this afternoon?
I think we're going to see the cars get quicker and quicker, and I know towards the end of autocross, there were some of the faster times of autocross, the cars really were on the limit. I know a few cars got some air over the jump at the far end of the course, so looking forward to see if that's going to happen again.
And meanwhile, in the pits area, we see car 330 from Akron having problems slightly similar to the ones we saw yesterday at acceleration, where the car kept stalling. But now they do have it running, as you can probably hear in the background. And we're rolling up slowly towards the starting line.
You know, Scuderia Mensa making their way around the first lap. It's been a clean lap so far as I can see.
Akron again stalls, so it'll be a while before the next car joins, because they are now holding up the rest of the queue as well.
Yeah, Akron participated already in 2 events this year. They participated in Michigan in May and also in Austria a couple of weeks ago. In Austria they came in overall 5th, so this is definitely one of the top 10 teams in the combustion class to watch.
Yeah, the Akron car is a slightly tricky clutch. The driver is really struggling to keep it running. But now he is in first gear, which makes it a bit harder to start.
So while we were watching the Akron car, Wiesbaden came by with an 83.8 and Akron is now ready to join. Let's see if he can get past the starting line.
He's in gear and he is actually finally off now. Yes, he has joined the track. So next up, it's the car from Lund, car 214. Behind them, US Constance, Shanghai behind them. And the car I hadn't mentioned before was the electric car 54 from Barcelona. They'll be up next as well. I think we should expect about 6 cars on track. So I think we'll see all those 4 cars following the Akron car pretty soon. as Lund rolls up to the starting line.
Yeah, the team from Lund now rolling up. They were not here last year. The last time we seen them in Germany was 2014. Back then they were 20th in endurance. They did finish, so let's see if they can also finish their second endurance in Germany.
And the car from Akron is making its way around the wing section of the course. The driver was concentrating very hard to get the car pulled off the line, and that paid off as he's now going quite well, I must say.
And also Lund now on track, while Wiesbaden improved their time with more than 3.5 seconds, so that's a good improvement for them. Let's see what the first split times for Akron are. And it's an 86.3.
I think that's very similar to the first lap time we saw from Bath just before the lunch break.
So meanwhile the Constance car 343, has started just now, waiting to approach the starting line.
Oh, and the driver of car 265 with a big correction as he enters the kink. Narrowly avoided hitting some cones.
So first split time for Lund, 90 seconds flat. While I do believe that Constance will get the green flag anytime now. I think first they will let Akron pass.
A very interesting update on car 395 from Valencia. As you may remember, this morning session they dropped out. The car stalled in the very first lap of their endurance. However, as it turns out, there seems to have been some confusion during the procedure where they were attempting to restart the car. And now the officials have deemed that they were not given enough time. And that means that they will get another shot. And the driver is now in the car, in the driver change area, and they will be allowed to enter the track shortly, I think.
Yeah, so meanwhile we saw the black and orange car from Constance entering the track, while the German-looking car from Wiesbaden flies by in a 78.67. Very consistent.
Just when he got into the section of the Formula One racetrack, the driver from Constance appeared to spin around. He's got going again, but it's been an eventful first lap for him.
So potentially very good news for the guys from Valencia, who are now being directed towards the starting line. They're being given preference over the Shanghai car 233, who was in the first position in the normal queue. And Valencia are about to be given the green flag. And let's hope they can get a clean run after all.
Yeah, so the team from Valencia with some very Spanish-sounding names. One driver is called Felipe, the other one is called Jose Miguel.
Wow, Constance almost lifting a wheel in that corner.
Yeah, a 92.3 on their first lap.
I think the driver from Valencia is trying to let the engine get up to temperature before he gets the green flag. Certainly looking at the steering wheel before he sets off.
Yeah, we have to pay some special attention to Wiesbaden at this point, because in fact they are the fastest combustion time we have out today. They drove a 78.42, which is a couple of milliseconds faster than the Istanbul team we saw this morning.
I would think that the guys from Valencia will not be granted too much time, but the driver now indicates that everything is all right and he's good to go. Thumbs up, and he closes his visor, and he will be shown the green flag momentarily.
Yes, they are back on track. Car number 395 from Valencia re-entering the track. And in the meanwhile, also Akron flew by with an 80.158, more than a second improvement for them. And Constance also improving their own time with actually a very, very fast time of 78.224, which makes them now the fastest combustion time of the day.
Yeah, the driver from Constance is really pushing. Just after he crossed the start-finish line, he took out a cone in the cone killer chicane, so he's really giving it his all.
There's now a couple of cars out there that are very evenly matched.
And I think this is it also for the next couple of minutes, because the guy waving the green flag is now having lunch. So this is it. So that means we can focus back on track with Lund flying by.
Lund have a very inspirational message on their rear wing. It says, "The car will make it." Let's hope that's true.
Well, at least it's fast enough. They improved their own time already again with half a second of a 79.0.
Yep, now driving well below the 80-second mark in their 5th lap currently. Valencia about to cross the start-finish line. And to be clear, this is a full rerun for them, so this counted as their very first lap. And it's already a very good one, an 82.275 rather.
Yeah, actually that is the fastest in-lap we have seen in the afternoon session, even faster than Wiesbaden, so looking promising for them. So Wiesbaden, can they even improve their own time even further?
The driver appears a bit tentative as he goes past us that lap. I think his car is still working fine. He's just maybe getting a little bit tired or something.
Meanwhile, the Constance driver so far has improved himself significantly every single lap. And again, pushed the fastest combustion time of the day a bit lower last time he crossed the finish line by improving by more than a second. Let's see if he can get below the 77 mark.
And here's Lund again, whizzing by with a 79.93, again below the 80-second mark. You can see some very constant driving, right, Thijs? I'm looking to the scoreboard right now, and all of these drivers are really pushing it, but remaining constant and clean.
Yeah, they're pretty clean.
Car number 343 is looking particularly Constance.
The car from Valencia has pulled off the track in the slingshot corner, but he seems to be going again now, taking out a couple cones as he rejoins the track.
So Constance with a 77.68.
Yeah, they had to hold back a little bit because the Valencia car was stalled out and there were yellow flags being waved. Unfortunately, it didn't cost him too much time, as the Chinese car, car 233, is about to join rather, and they'll be given the green flag momentarily.
Yeah, the Chinese team was very fast at the acceleration run yesterday, weren't they, Thijs?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they got a couple of penalty points afterwards due to a re-scrutineering issue. Otherwise, they might have even won the event overall.
Car from Lund just coming around to finish another lap. Driver looking very steady. Yeah, as you guys have been saying, all of these cars are lapping fairly similar lap times. Nobody's really catching up to anybody else, despite all running on the track at the same time.
Well, I suppose that's a good thing. It's also safest for everybody on track.
The driver from Wiesbaden having several moments as he goes through the horseshoe section of the track. I think he's just pushing a little bit too hard.
So we can see the car from Spain just now with a very big fan on the rear. Thijs, can you comment on what the fan is about?
Yeah, they are one of the teams that have chosen to put the radiator all the way on the back of the car. So that's what it's for.
Meanwhile, Wiesbaden have made their way to the pit stop, have their driver changed now.
Actually, the last lap for Wiesbaden before re-entering was a very good improvement of their own time, even going below the 77-second mark with a 76.95.
And that means that they now have the fastest combustion time of the day. I'm sure the guys from Constance will be eager to get back that point for now, as they are about to re-enter the final section of the track again.
Well, it sure looks like the driver is wanting to get the record back. He's really pushing the car, and maybe even a little bit overdriving it. I see a lot of slippage going on, right, Austin?
Yeah, a few of the drivers are really pushing hard. The driver from Constance is one of them. It's almost like he's lifting his inside front wheel when he comes around the sharp turns.
Yeah, the best Constance time so far is less than a tenth off of the fastest time overall for the combustion cars from Wiesbaden just now. That Constance driver is now lapping very consistently in the 70s, but not yet been able to break below that point.
So coming around, I do believe, for the first time is a team from China. Oh no, they already have one lap in with an 80.7. Let's see if they can also go below the 82nd mark. Coming around now. Yeah, oh wow, very good time of a 77.73.
So he wants to join in the fastest lap action as well, it's looking like. Meanwhile, Constance, it looks like they're coming up behind Akron, who's potentially going a little bit slower than they have been on previous laps.
Well, this does provide us a very good opportunity to watch the first overtaking maneuver of the afternoon. For all the new watchers or people that only joined in this afternoon on the grandstands. So what will happen now is that the Akron car should get a blue flag.
I think they're going to let him stay out because he's in for his pit stop this lap, so he's not going to be pulled over.
Yeah, you're right.
But he is coming into the pits right now.
Driving very closely on the other car, I must say, the team from Constance.
Constance driver looking fairly annoyed. You can see why. That cost him about 5 seconds being stuck behind Akron.
Yeah, the Akron car was going a bit slower than it had been for all the other laps, so hopefully there's not a problem there. We'll keep an eye out on the pit stop to see if they're going to get going or not.
Meanwhile, Valencia is not showing so much consistency in their lap times. They had a very fast 77.9, but I see ranges of 2 seconds between the lap times, so struggling with the constancy there.
Let's see what Shanghai can do. Can they increase their learning curve? Well, not quite as fast. It's a 77.15. Not quite as steep, the learning curve, I mean. But I'm confident that they will be able to break below the 77 point as well.
And I think also Lund now will get the checkered flag for the driver change. Yes, they do. So in for the driver change, car 214 from Lund.
There's a bit of drama in the pit lane behind me. It looks like the car from Wiesbaden is having some drama. The team members all looking a bit confused with what's going on. Talking to the scrutineers. Doesn't seem like something is, or it looks like something is a little bit wrong with the car, and the scrutineers aren't completely happy about.
So meanwhile, Valencia came by full in the rev limiter, but it did improve their time for the, well, they have the fastest time of the day, dipping below the 76-second mark already with a 75.9.
Looks like Wiesbaden is being allowed to restart after a small discussion. Driver's got his visor down.
Shanghai, meanwhile, with a 76.7. Just too late to be the first to have the fastest time of the track so far for combustion cars. And because of that very fast time of Valencia just now.
Wiesbaden's got the car refired and they're about to set off again after that bit of a scare during their pit stop. He's just stalled again.
Meanwhile, the Constance driver on the very last lap of his stint. They're about to be called in for the driver change. Let's see if in his final lap he can, after all, get below the 77s.
And we can see also, I think the reason the scrutineers had done a little bit of an extra inspection on the car from Wiesbaden was the, looks like some of the exhaust insulation is shot out and is shooting everywhere. They've now got the green flag though as they go off with a bunch of white confetti trailing the car, which is the exhaust insulation.
So a couple of cars now joining the fray for the fastest combustion time of the day.
Sorry to stop you, Steph, but the Weissbaden cars just pulled off the side of the track immediately after restarting. Marshall's running up to it. Yellow flags being waved. Driver is still in the car.
That was a very short stint. I don't think he made it 300 meters out of the pits. Let's hope we can get it running again.
Yeah, so we can see that the Constance car is in the pits. There are a couple of cars now on track competing for the fastest combustion time. A short reminder, the fastest electric time of the day was a 72.137, so quite a considerable amount faster.
Yeah, I would expect the faster combustion cars towards the end of this afternoon to also be able to match that speed or thereabouts. That'll be a while though. We have 45 cars in total that are meant to be running in this session, and I do think that we will see most of them at the starting line.
Yeah, and the last lap sign for Valencia. Well, another Spanish team is joining the queue, UPB Barcelona, the electric car. It's very good that they managed to fix their car, because yesterday something happened, right, Austin?
Yeah, they had a spectacular failure as they finished their final autocross run. As they crossed the finish line, it appeared as if they had a front suspension failure, and it sort of slammed the front of the car against the ground, and the front wing fell off, and there were pieces broken off, and didn't know what was going to be if fixable or not. But it looks like they've gotten it all back together, and they're on track now.
Yep, waving a very friendly thumbs up to the starter as the driver drives out. Let's see how the Barcelona car is going to hold up.
So meanwhile, Lund is also coming back on track.
And Akron is fired back up, and they're about ready to pull on track as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have been informed that the car from Wiesbaden, car 265, has a confirmed DNF. So that is a shame for them. They made it through the driver change. That does mean that they are actually eligible for efficiency points. So it's still good for them. But unfortunately, they couldn't actually finish the endurance race here.
Yeah, meanwhile, Valencia came in and Akron is now coming out again. So they managed to complete the pit stop.
Yeah, I'm very glad to see Valencia running so well after a very unfortunate stoppage in the first session today. So let's hope they can continue this. They had very good pace just now.
The car from China, meanwhile, is a very good sounding car, and I do have to say this might be the most convincing Chinese car I've ever seen on track.
Yeah, they've been competitive in all the events they've been to. It's been very impressive to see them go. And yeah, driver right now is very smooth, and the car sounds good, and it's just fun to watch.
Meanwhile, Barcelona crosses for their first lap on an 86.6. And another British team, we saw two earlier this morning, but the third British team is now coming also on track. University of Hertfordshire with a very distinct orange main hoop.
And Hertfordshire gets the green flag. They're starting their endurance run.
So they have quite a famous fan, right, Austin?
Yeah, they were telling me that they seem to have Taylor Swift seems to be following them around everywhere they go. They're not complaining. They like her music, so I guess she likes their Formula Student team in return.
So the last lap for the team from Tongji, Shanghai. That is, of course, the last lap before the driver change.
It's like US Constance is about ready to retake the track after their pit stop. They're fired up all right.
Yeah, first driver from Constance was really flying. His fastest time was a 77.07. Let's see what the second driver can do in his first lap. So meanwhile, Barcelona is visibly taking up speed. Turning it up to 11, I would say, and improving their time with 3 seconds, so that's quite good. while Loon flies by again. They're also picking up speed, I think. Let me check their times.
And Hertfordshire around to complete their first lap.
So driver from Akron very aggressively, while the team from China comes in for their pit stop. So I'm eager to await the time from Constance. Their first lap of their first driver was only a 92.3. Their second driver's first lap is 5 seconds better with an 83 point flat.
And Barcelona, look like they're going well too. Steph, can you tell me what their time is?
Not so well as the last lap, about a second slower, but still very fast times there. While also Valencia is coming back on track. So Akron coming past with a 78.0, so an improvement for their fastest time. And the second lap below the 80-second mark as Valencia passes the start-finish. This Constance driver is really impressive to watch. Now in the horseshoe section to the back end, and then they have another horseshoe until the fast end.
Valencia's first driver had a really good last sort of part of the stint. His last 4 laps, all of which were below the 77, 3 of which even below the 76 mark. Let's see if his second driver can pick up the speed and match those times.
So the Constance driver shaving off quite some time for his previous lap.
Looks like the guys from Hertfordshire are just catching up to the car from Lund very slowly, but it's just been a little bit each lap.
Yeah, Hertfordshire also crossed the 80-second mark just now in their last lap. Let's see if they can improve even further. No, they cannot, but it still is very consistent.
And the team from Tongji University has completed their driver change. That was very quick, and they're fired up and ready to go for the second half of endurance.
Yeah, and also Akron coming through with a 76.7, their fastest time of the day. While Valencia is coming by again. For the first lap of the second driver, it's a 79.8, whereas the first lap of the first driver was at 82, so it's 3 seconds faster already.
Akron's driver is really pushing now and closing in fast on Hertfordshire, when Turin is closing in fast in the Lund car, and Lund is now being shown a blue flag, allowing Hertfordshire to pass. But I think pretty soon Akron will be on the tail of the Lund car as well.
So Akron again improving their time, and now also going below the 77-second mark with a 76.74.
There's a yellow flag around by the VW trailer. It looks like the marshals have got the situation sorted. I'm not sure what it was. It wasn't within our view, but looks like somebody may have spun and hit a few cones and gotten going again.
Lund suddenly finding a little bit of speed, so managing to stay in front out of Akron. But now they are being shown the blue flag. Very well done by the marshals, and Akron speeds by.
So I can confirm at this point that Hertfordshire is the fastest UK team on track we have seen today. They are faster than Bath and Loughborough.
Thanks for that update, Steph.
Hertfordshire, meanwhile, even though they are the fastest British team on track, are struggling to keep out in front of Akron. We're now closing in fast. I think we will see some blue flags in the near future there.
Yeah, Akron lapping around 1 to 2 seconds faster at this moment, so they are faster indeed. So Constance, can they improve their own fastest time? No, they were held up a little bit, I think, with 88.3.
But the driver from Constance is really pushing hard. You can see the car sideways through most of the turns.
Yeah, but when I'm looking at the times, I think he is overdriving the car a little bit. The previous driver was a considerable amount faster than that.
No blue flags for Hertfordshire yet. Akron now is getting really close.
Yeah, with a very good time also, 76.5. So not quite the fastest time for the combustion cars of the day, which is still, I believe, Valencia, but still fast enough.
You see that Valencia's fan is now on the rear radiator of the car. Must get the engine temperature a bit up in the endurance.
Valencia's second driver, meanwhile, not quite ready here. They're matching the first driver's pace.
And
he's only off 2 seconds yet.
Hertfordshire have just been given the blue flag, and they've let Akron pass on the north curve section of the track.
Yeah, so second driver for Torngi also picking up the pace, improving his own time with 4 seconds.
As you said, Mickey, the Constance driver overdriving a bit. He's just hit a few cones going through the Broken Dreams section of the track.
It is fast though, at 81.6.
Akron set their fastest time so far in their previous lap. They were being held up by Hertfordshire a little bit in this lap. So it is slightly slower, but they now have a nice clear piece of track in front of them.
I can look down and I can see the team members from the Barcelona electric car urging their driver to go faster, waving their arms frantically. See if he gets the message and picks up the pace.
The driver will have to work hard to stay ahead of the Akron team, which are closing in fast now.
Yeah, but on the other hand, the team from Barcelona is very consistent at his lap times. I think this is about what they can do with these accumulator settings.
Yep, blue flags being waved for Barcelona now, and Akron will be able to pass.
So last year the Barcelona team in their home event in Spain came in overall 12th, finishing the endurance on an 11th position.
Barcelona driver now eager to go a bit faster, I think, oversteering into the slalom and out of the horseshoe too.
The second driver from Constance now also going in the direction of the 82nd mark. Fastest lap of the first driver was a 77 seconds flat, so still 3 seconds off.
Valencia has stopped on track. We're waiting on updates on what's going on there.
Yeah,
The
meanwhile,
yellow flags are being waved.
so yeah, meanwhile also Akron came past. They are driving very consistent, very fast lap times at the moment.
Shanghai just killed one of the cones in the slalom.
Yeah, so for Akron this will result in a very good overall endurance lap time. With 1 lap to go, I think.
Mickey can see through his binoculars the car from Valencia. The driver is frantically trying to restart the car as he's just alongside the pendulum section of track. Yellow flags being waved, so all the cars going slowly past him.
Lund and Akron both on their very last laps of the endurance.
Whoa, and a big slide from the Constance driver as he approaches the horseshoe. He keeps it on track though and doesn't hit any cones.
Car 76 from Freiberg has just entered the track. Akron in his very last couple of corners.
And we can confirm that 395 from Valencia is finished. It will not complete the endurance, so apologies to them. But Akron, car number 330 from the USA, finishes endurance with some very quick times the whole way throughout. And Barcelona finishes their stint as well. Well, Hertfordshire gets the last lap board shown to them.
And
Lund is approaching their last part of the endurance as well.
Yeah, and the times of Akron that were very impressive. They are now in fact overall, so over all the laps, the fastest combustion time that finished the endurance.
And Lund finishes the endurance as well. Very good job for them. And a very good job for Akron as well. Big round of applause for everybody.
the second driver for the Tongji Shanghai, showing very consistent lap times. Meanwhile, the white and blue car of car number 297 from Schweinfurt has joined the track.
Freiberg about to come around for the first time. It's somewhat cautious, 89.678, but I'm sure we'll start to find out how much faster they can go as Constance is being shown the last lap sign.
And the car from Schweinfurt, which has just taken the green flag, did one of the most amazing things I've ever seen on an acceleration run the other day. The track was a bit damp, and the driver actually did a 180 and crossed the finish line backwards. He didn't hit any cones, so the run counted, and Hertfordshire now in for their pit stop.
Yep, and the driver sets the fastest lap that he's done so far, barely below the 79 point.
Yeah, and the Schweinfurt team, the white and green car, two drivers, nicknames Hemnenator and Louis Louis.
Car from Shanghai has 3 laps left to go. Freiberg, I think, is looking a little bit snappier than they were in their previous lap.
Meanwhile, Schweinfurt comes through for their first round. It is an 88.4, and they also want to extend their friendly greetings to Elephant Racing Bayreuth.
And about to finish their endurance are the teams from Constance. They finish the endurance, car 343. Congratulations.
And Barcelona is back on track after their driver change. A great run from Constance. They deserve a big round of applause. Drivers are really pushing the whole way throughout.
Yeah, so the Constance team, on average, about 1 second slower than Akron, so that still keeps Akron the fastest car of the day that has finished endurance. Then again, the Shanghai Tongji car, which is still on track, is at this moment on average a little bit faster even. So if they finish, it will make them the fastest car of the day.
It's very close though.
And that being said, we don't have any vision of how many cones any of these cars have hit, so that could factor into the final times as well.
A new car lining up meanwhile. It's car number 235 from Maribor, Slovenia, getting the green flag and joining the endurance.
Maribor, definitely one of the loudest cars out there. Yesterday, after their autocross run, or rather during their autocross run, their exhaust even got dislodged from their damper, causing them to be even much louder still. Let's hope that doesn't happen today to them.
Driver from Schweinfurt looking very steady.
So the Maribor car name is named Shakira because of the hips, and they don't lie.
Meanwhile, the Freiberg driver definitely has picked up speed quite a bit, from an 89 in his first lap to an 81 just now.
So Thijs, regarding Tongji, who are flying out there, they are getting the last lap sign, I think. Can you confirm?
Yeah, they are about to enter their final lap.
I see the Chinese team members on the fence looking very anxious. Hope you can finish, guys, for your last lap.
Yeah, I've been lapping very consistently. Second driver, a little bit slower, fairly close to the first driver's pace, but very consistent nonetheless.
And Maribor finished his first lap. The driver, we believe, is Alan Meertel.
Coming around in an 84.795. Freiberg, can they dip below the 80s? Ooh, only just missed that part. It's an 80.46 as Hertfordshire rejoins the track after their driver change.
The team from Maribor wanted to give a shout out to Rock Lamp, aka Bucci. He was a driver that retired this year, and his biggest wish was to finish endurance in Germany. Sadly, he never succeeded, so they're going to try their best to do it for him today.
So Tunji University from Shanghai. Yes, they will finish. I am 100% sure now. Cannot go wrong. The checkered flag for the team from China. Very, very strong performance. And I do think that they are now the fastest car overall. Let me validate that. Yes, they are indeed faster than Akron.
And the University of Auburn has just joined the track as well. Car from War Eagle Motorsports.
Not the guys with the mustaches again, Austin. Yes, that is Washington. Okay, it was Auburn on track. I thought Washington was coming, but it was Auburn, right. I was too much focused on the very, very fast team time from the Chinese team, to be honest. Very good performance from them. So meanwhile, Barcelona continues to whiz on. They are now in their 13th lap, and actually they set just the fastest time of the day with the 81.58, so that's for them the fastest time of the day. So Auburn, what can they do on their first lap? It's an 81.6. The 81.6 being one of the fastest first laps of any driver of the day, so very good performance right from the starting line there. So Auburn coming around again. They had a very impressive first lap. And an even more impressive second lap with a 78.016.
Meanwhile, car 76 from Freiberg is stalled out on track. Yellow flags waving.
That is too bad for them. They are nearly approaching the pit stop. So Schweinfurt coming around, and after that it's Hertfordshire now in the fast section.
So this driver from Hertfordshire is Jonathan Davis. We've been told he really hates camping, and he's spent the days between FS Czech and FSG comps in a spa and wellness center.
Well, that makes him quite a princess.
I wonder if he's had a manicure while he was there.
Unfortunately, we just got confirmation that car 76 from Freiberg is out of the competition. They had a problem with the car and they will be pushed off the dynamic area now. Give him a big hand. They were on their way to setting a good time.
We've got more fun facts about Hertfordshire. Team member Scott Fowler can squat 210 kilograms, which is more than the weight of the car, yet he never lifts a finger in the workshop. And team member Jack Mooney, self-titled as lead powertrain thermal management heat control engineer head chief, survives on a diet of 9 cans of tuna per day and loves displaying a shaved and tanned chest for the ladies.
The Maribor car just did a very interesting maneuver. The driver caught a cone on his wing. The cone fell over into his lap and it was sort of in his face. And while with one hand driving through the cone killer chicane, which is one of the trickiest part of the track, he had to, with his other hand, remove the cone from the cockpit. But he actually managed to do that without hitting any further cones, so well done to him. Meanwhile, Braunschweig has been given the green flag and approval to join the track, but the car stalls out before it actually reaches the track. Let's hope the driver can get it running again. At least he is in a safe space for now.
We've also been told that Jack Mooney has found love here at FSG, so congratulations, Jack.
Hertfordshire is now really pushing the Schweinfurt car. And they are being shown the green flags now.
Yeah, so the team from Braunschweig, being one of the two oldest teams from Germany, together with the team from Stralsund, they have some issues with restarting their car. Driver fiddling on the dashboard. There's a dash kill switch, as we call it. Turning it on and off again, or off and on again. Sometimes it works, but he still has his visor open. That's never a good sign.
It's a very heavy car to push though, with all the electric motors. It's a shame, the car made it about 7 meters past the start line. It never actually crossed the beacons. The driver from Maribor is really pushing now.
And Hertfordshire comes around to complete another lap.
Yeah, very consistent times there. This was an 80.4.
Schweinfurt coming in to the pits area for the driver change.
Yeah, John O'Davis from Hertfordshire is doing a very good job. Consistent lap times, trying to get the car to the end.
Yeah, the average lap times of Hertfordshire so far approaching the best of the day, but still a little bit slower than the Chinese team, unfortunately for them. However, I do think that the Hertfordshire run is a little bit cleaner than the Chinese run, so that may, in the end result, win it for them. So, meanwhile, I'm looking to the Braunschweig car in the pits. Still some officials there, some team members. We'll keep you updated.
The first driver of the Maribor team is being shown the last lap sign.
So Hertfordshire is coming around again. Current fastest car on track with a 75.8, very fast time and an improvement for them again.
This is actually the 20th combustion car that Hertfordshire have made. It's called UH20.
Wow, that's an inspiring name.
We're not quite sure what's going to happen with the Braunschweig car now. They haven't managed to start their race, even though they had been shown a green flag. The guys from car 333, the Russian team, was given some grace in a fairly similar situation. The officials are now looking at the car and deciding what to do.
I do see a push bar attached. So one thing for sure is that the Braunschweig car is now being pulled off. I don't know if they get a chance at a rerun, but they missed their slot for now.
And Barcelona crosses the finish line. It's a great run for them to finish their endurance. Congratulations to everybody from Barcelona. Get a big cheer from the stands.
There's a bunch of cars now lining up to be the next one on track. First in queue we have Trondheim, car 63. Right behind them it's the car from Dresden, car 18. There's Uni Erlangen.
Maribor has also made it to its pit stop now. The driver change is taking place as we speak.
Yep, and Hart's in the last lap.
Schweinfurt just restarted their engine. So it looks like they had a very successful quick driver change. Behind the car from Erlangen, it's car 242 from US Darmstadt.
And Schweinfurt takes the green flag after their pit stop in car 297.
And two more cars that are in line are the car from Modena, the combustion car, and the electric car, number 77 from DHBW Stuttgart.
I can remember the DHBW Stuttgart car being very fast on acceleration, right, Thijs?
Yep, they won that event. It was a very convincing show. Very, very consistent also. I think their last two laps, the last two runs in acceleration, were almost the exact same time.
Meanwhile, the Auburn driver really pushing it.
As the car from Schweinfurt UAS makes its way around the track, now is probably a good time to give the friendly shout out to Elephant Racing Beirut.
Sorry, Austin, the checkered flag for Hertfordshire finishing their endurance.
Congratulations to them, it's a very great achievement. A big round of applause is well deserved.
And on track now, car number 63, NTNU Trondheim.
Dresden has started their tractive system as well. I think they will be allowed to join the action soon as well, as Maribor is still rounding up their driver change. Drivers now being strapped in, and looks like the officials are happy with the state of the car, as Dresden rolls up to the starting line first.
And the Wild Hog from Schweinfurt crosses the finish line for another lap.
Dresden, green flag. Car 18 on track. Maribor's driving still fiddling with the driver harness.
And Auburn gets the flag to come in for the driver change.
So the Dresden car is named Emily. I think they have a sort of habit of naming their cars girls' names with an E. So this one is Emily, but there's also an unofficial favorite, Hannelore.
I don't hear anything from the Maribor car yet, which must mean that they're not on, because it's very hard to miss if they do run.
Yeah, shout out from the team from Dresden to AMZ, who helped us out by bringing the trailer the rest of the way. That broke down 10 kilometers to go from Hockenheim.
Unmistakably, it's the car from Maribor, car 235, who just restarted and are about to be shown the green flag.
Sorry, Thijs, I can't hear you from here. It's so loud, this car.
Sorry, what's that?
Huh?
Were you guys saying something?
Meanwhile, on a more serious
Trondheim
note...
stalled, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Car 63, they were on their second lap after a very decent first lap.
So it's going again.
And Maribor back off out after its pit stop.
Dresden with a very convincing first lap, by the way, 76.298.
So a new car is approaching the green flag. It's Universität Erlangen, car number 249.
So we have seen earlier today the car from Karlsruhe, who set the fastest lap of the day, 72.14. Their first lap actually was almost 2 seconds slower than the first lap from Dresden. So let's see what the guys from Dresden can do. They are on great speed right now.
Yeah, so the car from Erlangen, car 249, just entered. High Octane Motorsports from Erlangen. Last year in Germany they came in 4th, so maybe they'll be able to break it into the top 3 this year.
Dresden closing in on Schweinfurt fast, as they're about to finish up their second lap.
I must say, Dresden looking very good. It's a very neat overall package.
Whoa, a massive spin from Schweinfurt. He goes off track. Let's hope he sees the other car. He waits for Dresden to go past and he pulls back on. He'll have a 20-second penalty for cutting the course, and he's taken out a cone or two on the way as well.
Dresden I think caught a slight delay with that, but still they were slightly faster in their first run. Almost the exact same time.
Sorry, Thijs, MTNU stalled again, I see. I am happy with the action of the driver from Schweinfurt just now. It was good he watched to his left, because it could have gotten very nasty with Dresden there.
Yeah, Norwegian car still stalled. They stopped out on track on their second lap as well, in their third lap now.
So Erlangen coming around in their first lap. I do think they had some delay. Yeah, 95.7. I don't think that this is the car's potential.
Car from Maribor is now being held up quite a bit by the Schweinfurt car just in front of them.
We've just had an announcement on site asking all the teams to start packing up their pit equipment and also their race cars if they've finished endurance. So if you're on site in a team and you want to get to the Male party on time, maybe start to do the tidying up. Meanwhile, it looks like Schweinfurt is getting the blue flag to let car 235 pass for Maribor.
Meanwhile, there's some activity around the car from Auburn. Car 217 in the pits. Unfortunately, it doesn't look good for them. I think the scrutineers have detected some oil leaking from the car, and it seems unfortunately being directed to push the car off the driver change area. I think that is the end for them, unfortunately. Please give them a big hand. They were showing great pace in their first half.
And car 249 from Erlangen takes up a cone as he goes around the horseshoe. He deposits it right at the exit of the turn, so he's not carrying it with him anymore.
So let's see what Erlangen can do in this lap. They were held up in the last lap a little bit. It is a 91.4.
We have some pretty good pace from Erlangen in previous years. I was perhaps expecting slightly higher speeds from them, as Dresden is getting closer to their fastest time of the day as well. 77.47 for them. Let's see if they can go faster than 76.26.
And UAS Darmstadt car 242 takes the green flag.
I just got confirmed that the reason for the DNF for Auburn was indeed an oil leak. And unfortunately, we have to report that the car from Trondheim is out of the race as well.
So we are forgetting Dresden a little bit, but they are really whizzing out there. They're almost as fast as the Karlsruhe car just now. In fact, the first lap of their first driver was almost 2 seconds faster as the first lap of the first driver for Karlsruhe.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to be stuck behind Erlangen for a few seconds this lap, but after they get past Erlangen, who's being shown the blue flags, they've got plenty of room ahead of them to win a few quick laps, I think.
Yeah, after this very impressive first lap from Dresden, their development wasn't quite as impressive as that of Karlsruhe, but they now have a nice stretch of free road before them, and they are below the 77s again.
So probably good time to elaborate a bit on UAS Darmstadt crossing the finish line now in their first lap with a very good 82.841. Last year they had the hottest pool at Formula Student Germany. They're very proud of that. It was more than 40 degrees Celsius. The hashtag on their car is hashtag Guess Who's Back, and that's the favorite song of them. It's an Eminem song, Without Me. No, Austin, I am not gonna sing it. Are you?
Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Dun, 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 dun. That's all you get.
Schweinfurt, meanwhile, only 2.5 laps away from finishing, as the car from Erlangen, I believe, has a cone stuck in his front wing.
Oh, he's displaced it by using another cone. That was Either a stroke of genius or a bit of oversteer, one of the two, I'm not quite sure.
Erlangen now improving their fastest time of the day and dipping below the 76 second mark with a 76.947.
Dresden, that is, yes.
What did I say? Oh, I said Erlangen. Sorry for that.
And Maribor gets past car 242.
Maribor's driver really pushing and oversteering into the final corner of the track.
Yeah, Maribor is nearing the end of their endurance. They did improve their last lap with a 76.244, while the Italians are back again. The team from Modena, car number 237. Make sure to watch this car. Last year they had some very interesting driving styles.
Dresden coming around again, once again in a sub 76 time, very, very close to their previous time. Maribor closing in fast in the Erlangen car now. Oh, and a very late blue flag, but very well seen by the Erlangen team. Car from Modena is one of the most unique layouts, I think, in terms of drivetrain. They have a 750cc longitudinally mounted engine. It's the last lap for Schweinfurt.
Meanwhile, I'll just hear the beep behind me. It's the DHBW Stuttgart team that has turned the tractive system on, whilst Dresden is again flying by with very consistent lap times. This time it's 76.35.
This driver being shown the last lap board for Dresden.
Yeah, the last lap before their pit stop. So Maribor.
Driver is still pushing very hard for Maribor.
Yeah, Maribor definitely being one of the faster cars in the combustion class we have seen so far, with an average lap time so far of a 79.7, so on average below the 80 seconds.
And DHBW Stuttgart car number 77 being given the green flag. Their hashtag is no time for burnout.
Yeah, US Darmstadt car was a while ago allowed.
And
as Schweinfurt finishes their endurance. I almost missed that. Congratulations to them. Car 297.
Everybody give them a big round of applause. A big achievement for Schweinfurt. And now Dresden is in for its driver change.
Yeah, so luckily Schweinfurt didn't cross the finish line within 180 this time. They crossed it the correct way around.
Yeah, it wasn't quite as exciting, but perhaps a little bit quicker this way.
US Darmstadt was allowed to overtake Erlangen 2 laps ago, and they've been doing well, creating some distance between them and the Erlangen car.
And Maribor now being shown the last lap board.
As Modena is sort of doing its own thing in sort of no man's land right now.
And for Maribor, that will be this will be the last lap of the endurance for them. So give them a big cheer as they make their way around the last half of a lap.
Yeah, but before that we have the first crossing of DHBW Stuttgart. The fastest first crossing of any electric car is 76.3. It was Dresden. Let's see if they can improve it even further.
Yeah, we know the straight line speed of the DHBW Stuttgart car is great after winning acceleration yesterday. So let's see, he crossed the line.
car doesn't look that snappy at the moment, but
It's an 84.82, maybe not as impressive as we were hoping for. As TU Hamburg, car 78, joins the track.
yeah, back again to the team from DHBW Stuttgart. This driver is called Moritz, but his nickname is more fun. His nickname is Static Downforce. And yes, to all the other teams, it is them at the campground every morning, waking everybody up with music at the maximum volume.
The driver from Maribor just improved on his very best lap time in the previous lap, and he's finishing the endurance now. It's not an improvement, but they are the lucky next occupants of the Parc Fermé after they finish this endurance.
Yeah, it's a very, very good result from Maribor. Give them a big cheer. Their average lap time was a 79.3.
Yeah, very impressive, especially the second to last lap was 75.45 was very impressive.
And car 242 just passes. That sounds very loud. I'm not sure what you guys think, but not sure if something's happened to the exhaust.
Meanwhile, Erlangen getting the last lap sign before the pit stop. And Modena crosses again with a 78.4.
And Dresden's ready to exit the pit lane now as well. It was a very quick pit stop from them.
Yeah, well
just
done.
waiting for another one of the cars to pass before they're sent out.
That indeed was a very quick pit stop.
I think they'll probably slot it in after the TU Hamburg car.
DHBW Stuttgart, meanwhile, setting an 81.06.
And Dresden is now back out on track.
Yeah, they are the fastest electric car currently on track, while Hamburg passes by with an 86.4. New car approaching now. It's the car 262 from Regensburg.
Yeah, the car from Regensburg won the skid pad event earlier on in the week. See if they can continue the performance they set there.
Meanwhile, Modena is closed in fast in the Erlangen car, and they will not be shown blue flags because the Erlangen car is about to finish their stint, and they'll be allowed to finish without having to go into the overtaking lane first. After that, Modena will have a clear track. Erlangen takes a cone with him into the change area.
And the driver from Modena accelerates very aggressively once he gets past. He didn't look too happy to be held up behind the car.
So second driver for Dresden is now 6 seconds slower than the first lap of the first driver, while Hamburg passes through in a very good and consistent 83.75. Hamburg at this moment are driving around on Continental tires when driving with a 600-volt battery package. So first time Regensburg is an 80.1. It's a very, very competitive first time. I do even believe it's the fastest combustion first lap. Yes, that is in fact correct. We just checked it. So Regensburg on their first lap faster than any other combustion car on their first lap. While car number 77 from DHBW Stuttgart is really pushing it, going all the way sideways here in the wings section.
US Darmstadt, meanwhile, first driver on his last lap.
And Stuttgart a bit wide through the last turn before he passes us. Heard a bit of a squeal of the brakes and he manages to stay on course.
The previous lap from the DHBW Stuttgart car was particularly fast with a 75.27. The last one was slightly slower.
Yeah, DHBW Stuttgart, in fact, their fastest lap so far is just a little bit faster than the fastest lap from Dresden, so it makes them at the moment the fastest electric car on track. Of course, we have seen Karlsruhe earlier, who were a fair amount faster with a 72.137.
The second driver of Dresden taking a little bit more time than the first driver to find his pace.
Just heard the car from Erlangen fire back up after their pit stop. He's pulling up to the restart his endurance session as well.
It's hard to miss the sound of the US Darmstadt car, which is approaching for their pit stop. I think they might be quite a bit louder than they were when they left this area. Let's see if the scrutineers have anything to say about that.
So while Austin is watching the scrutineering queue, the car from Modena flies by again with an improvement from their side. With a 76.561, it's a very fast time.
Yeah, the driver change for Darmstadt appears to be going as planned. The officials are pointing at the rear of the car.
Uni Erlangen back on track.
I think the officials are happy so far with the Darmstadt car.
Regensburg now, in fact, being the fastest combustion team we have seen so far on track with a 75.225. So very consistent there with a 75.567.
Wow, Modena oversteering. Being shown the last lap sign now.
Well, look at the pit stop for Darmstadt. I can say the next few cars in the queue to start the endurance are the Karlsruhe Institute Technology combustion car, the electric car from Chalmers, the combustion car from Oxford Brookes, and the vehicle from Weingarten.
So Erlangen's second driver immediately improving their fastest time of the day.
That's very impressive.
The driver from Darmstadt being strapped back in, given his steering wheel back, it's engaged. The officials asking him to restart the car, so it's looking all right for them, I think.
So while Hamburg whizzed by, now also Regensburg is whizzing by again, but then, well, with a lot more noise, with a 75.9, so very consistent times, constantly below the 76-second mark. Very impressive.
Interestingly, the first driver of Erlangen drove a 95.7 in his first lap, which means that the second driver is a full 16 seconds quicker in his first lap. It's a very interesting difference in pace there. Let's see if the driver can keep that up.
So checkered flag for the team from Modena for their pit stop.
And the car from Darmstadt having some issues getting refired. It's trying to turn over, but not quite yet. And there it goes. Car 242 is refired after its pit stop.
It's very loud still. I'm actually kind of surprised that they are letting this car go.
I did see Kevin point to the exhaust and ask, but I guess everyone is happy. And it looks almost like the exhaust has become detached from the car. Yeah, from our viewpoint, it looks like there's something not attached properly on the exhaust of the car from Darmstadt, which is why it's sounding so loud as it drives past.
It is being allowed to re-enter the track though. I'm sure the scrutineers will have a closer look during re-inspection in Park Vermeer after. So we'll know more about that later on.
Meanwhile, Hamburg is setting some very consistent time, as well as the DHBW Stuttgart team, consistently lapping between the 77 and 79 seconds. So very, very impressive there.
I can see the meatball flag below us. Oh wow, yeah, it looks like the...
Oh, the front wing of Dresden.
Yep, the white car just here at the start-finish line, his front wing is skidding the bottom of the track.
Yeah, something's definitely not right there. They have 3 laps left to go.
Actually, I did think it was for UAS Darmstadt, because that car is way and way too loud.
And it looks like the front wing of Dresden is broken off completely, and it's going to be game over for Dresden. It's a good effort for them. They were very quick, but just not their day today, unfortunately.
They were very quick so far. It's really unfortunate, but unfortunately that's it for them. Give it up for Dresden. Next car firing up, car 307, Karlsruhe Institute of Technology. We saw their electric counterpart on track this morning, and they have the fastest time of the day so far with a 72.14.
And DHBW Stuttgart takes the flag to go in for their pit stop.
Yeah, it's a shame for Dresden. Their average lap time was almost as fast as the average lap time of Karlsruhe, so quite a pity there.
Yeah, the Karlsruhe car was quite a bit faster in their fastest laps, but they had some hold-ups as well. So on average they were pretty close. Let's see what their combustion counterparts can do. 307 on track, Karlsruhe.
So Karlsruhe was the loudest team yesterday at the award ceremony, but they're definitely now not on track.
There's a car stopped at the far end of the track. Sorry guys to interrupt.
It's TU Hamburg, I think. Car 78.
Sorry, I can't hear anything you were saying, Tice, as that car just drove past us.
I couldn't hear myself think either, but I think it's car 78 stalled out on track, TU Hamburg at the far end. High voltage system is still on.
Modena back at the green flag.
Hamburg is moving again. You can hear the cheers from the crowd.
And the car from Modena pulls out again, sounding much better.
Regensburg now in hot pursuit of the Karlsruhe car, which is in front of them. Let's see what Karlsruhe can do in their first lap. They're pulling away quite quickly. And it's at 83.226. Regensburg actually quite a bit faster right now with a 77.96.
And Hamburg being shown the last lap board. I can actually see the exhaust of car 242 moving around underneath the side pod, way up from the commentator's booth.
Yeah, it's been pretty clear for a while now that that car is not fully road compliant anymore. Let's hope they can make it to the end of the stint. As Karlsruhe and Regensburg are closing in on the Erlangen car. Karlsruhe does appear to have picked up some speed.
Yeah, I suppose there's really no point in the noise test if you let these kind of cars drive around. Actually, here at our commentary position, we're actually quite amazed that they allow the UES Darmstadt to continue, to be honest.
Regensburg is being shown the finish flag for their first stint with another sub-76 time in for their driver changes. Karlsruhe comes by in a much faster 74.266, which is the fastest time we've seen of the day so far for a combustion car.
So DHBW Stuttgart is back again. So let me repeat that. After UES Darmstadt has passed, DHBW Stuttgart is back again, now getting the green flag.
Darmstadt does appear to be pretty happy out on track though, because they just improved their best time. It's a 76.48.
Yeah, lap times are very, very good.
Yeah, they have 5 more laps to go though.
I think this is the loudest car I've ever heard. I can also remember Vienna in 2008, I believe. They were also very, very loud, but this surpasses this easily.
Karlsruhe meanwhile stuck behind Erlangen, who are rearranging the slalom slightly. Karlsruhe in their previous lap by some margin the fastest car on track, and they will now be allowed to overtake Erlangen, who are being shown the blue flags. Erlangen in their second to last lap. Pretty interesting contrast. The was going to say, it's a pretty interesting contrast. The 242 car, US Darmstadt, and the 77 car following them directly, the DHBW Stuttgart. The change in sound is just quite dramatic. As car number 9, Chalmers, rolls up to the starting line.
Yeah, so the fastest time for the combustion car from Karlsruhe is more than a second faster than the next fastest time from Regensburg at this moment. So they're a league apart at this moment.
Yeah, let's see now that they have a piece of clear track in front of them, they can go quite a bit faster than that still.
And with that, Chalmers, car number 9, takes the green flag to start their endurance run.
Yeah, Chalmers was also here last year. They came in 9th overall in the electric class.
Karlsruhe again faster, but quite a bit, and I think they were still being held up a little bit by Erlangen, so they might go even faster the next one.
So Austin just left his mic open in order for everybody to hear the sound of the UAS Darmstadt car.
Just in case it wasn't loud enough to begin with, I guess.
So DHBW Stuttgart whizzing by with a 78.136. And Modena round again. Let's see what the second driver does. Did improve, yes. He again improves his own time with a 76.195. A very good time for them.
Really curious to see what the next lap time for the Karlsruhe driver is going to be. He's actually closing in fast on the number 9 car, Chalmers.
I think it will be a 72.
I think they should be able to get very close to their electric time. It's a 73.23.
So let's see if the second driver from Regensburg, who's just come back on track, can match the speed of Karlsruhe.
Erlangen being shown the finish flag.
Yeah, they just completed endurance. The team from Erlangen give them a big hand.
Well done to them.
Well, when car number 77 drifts wide as it approaches the horseshoe from DHBW Stuttgart, the driver's really pushing.
Good news, car 78, Hamburg, who were stalled out on track by the grandstands a while earlier, have successfully negotiated their driver change and are now back out on track as they were being pursued by car 77 from DHBW Stuttgart.
Yeah, although the Stuttgart car was heavily swirling around, the time actually is very fast for the second driver with a 77.9, while Modena improved their own time, dipping below the 76 mark with a 75.4. A very good time for them also.
Chalmers with a significant improvement on their previous lap. Second lap time for this driver is 77, which means that they could stay out in front of Karlsruhe for a little while longer, who are still closing in.
Yeah, I think we should stop talking again because Darmstadt is whizzing by.
Yeah, let me hold the mic out so you can hear the car as it goes past our booth.
Thank you, Austin.
Next year, maybe one of the sponsors will bring some earplugs to hand out during the week.
All right, one last time past the grandstand for you to enjoy the very loud car from Darmstadt. They are on their last lap.
Yeah, I'm quite sure that next to the team members, all people on the grandstand will be very happy if they finish the endurance race. Meanwhile, Brooks has just lined up.
Car's going now right behind Chalmers. They have overtaken, but Chalmers has become stuck in the overtaking lane.
Speed Endurance, the loudest car ever, UAS Darmstadt car number 242.
And breathe. Chalmers, meanwhile, was being overtaken by Karlsruhe in the overtaking lane closest to the commentary position. They got stuck halfway the overtaking lane, but now they have got it going again, and they're being given the okay by the commentator, by the flag guys to continue.
Is it okay with you as well, Thijs?
Yes, they definitely have my okay as well. Actually, Chalmers is going, showing very good pace.
Looks like now that Chalmers is out of the way, they're ready to give the green flag to Brooks again.
Karlsruhe understeering quite dramatically in the horseshoe sections here.
Yeah, speaking of Karlsruhe, they are now getting the last lap sign for their pit stop.
It's another 75er for them.
So, with the rest returned a little bit into our commentary position, the Brooks car is on track. Austin, what can we tell about that car?
The Brooks car, yeah, it's a carbon fiber chassis. They've had some issues at Silverstone. I think very similar to Darmstadt. They had some issues with the exhaust, but at Silverstone they were pulled off the track, so they didn't finish endurance. In the car now is Robin. It's his, apparently, according to the team, is his 16th birthday, and he really wants some more Taylor Swift apparel.
I do think you are not eligible to drive at 16 because, in fact, all these drivers have to be in possession of a valid driving license.
I'm just going by what the teams tell me, Steph.
The TU Hamburg car, by the way, showing a fairly interesting development in their driver times. The first driver had the fastest time of 79.34, very good. But then the second driver had a very decent 81 second lap in his first lap. Unfortunately, though, his lap times have increased slightly since.
So the pit stop for Karlsruhe, the first coming round of Oxford in a very good 80.9, and also Modena is now on their last lap, while the team from Weingarten, the purple and black car number 360, has entered the track.
Yeah, the first driver of the Karlsruhe combustion car not quite able to match the times of his electric colleague. Let's see what the second driver can do.
There's a yellow flag on the far side of the course.
Is it Chalmers again?
No, I think it's the Hamburg car, isn't it?
I'm not so sure. It's right behind the wall for us.
No, Hamburg is moving.
Okay, there might have been an off course, but it's okay now. I don't see any other cars.
I see all cars moving, I think.
Actually, there are a lot of cars moving on track at the moment. We have 7 on track, is that correct? Yeah. So, all things aside, the Italian team from Modena with their longitudinal engine is getting the checkered flag. So again, they finish for the Italians. Give them a big cheer. Very good team from Modena. Worked very hard to achieve this.
Showed great pace throughout this race too.
So let's take a look at Brooks coming through.
Yeah, it's sounding to me like the Brooks car isn't really shifting as it comes past us.
Almost exactly matching their first lap time. As Weingarten puts in a very decent first lap, a 77.21.
I think very decent is an understatement, but because it is the fastest lap we have seen in the first lap of the day, I think.
Oh, and looks like Chalmers is still stopped on track again. They've got going. Given the blue flag.
How many laps left for Chalmers now? Oh, they only have 5 in. So they still have quite some long way to go.
Yeah, they had a good first lap and a very good second and third lap. But after that, they had some problems, unfortunately. But they seem to be on their way pretty good now again.
It's has become a parade lap of winged cars, Austin.
And a part just flew off one of the cars in the little train that's been formed after behind the Hamburg car.
It has. It looks like, or sounds like the Brooks car is very loud, just like the Darmstadt car was.
Wow, breaking records here.
Oh, you can see looks like a part of the exhaust is blown off. You can see everything coming out of the exhaust. This doesn't look good for them at all. The debris is falling out of the Brooks car's exhaust.
Weingarten is unfazed by that and still following very closely.
Meanwhile, Chalmers have pulled off in the passing area again. He's come to a stop.
The exact same spot where they were before.
And Karlsruhe is now getting ready for the green flag again.
Oxford Brookes with all sorts of problems. I think they're stuck in gear and their exhaust system is falling apart.
Wow, that is some tough luck for Brookes.
Although they're not quite as loud as Darmstadt was, so we'll see what happens with the officials.
They're being blue flagged and Weingarten is allowed to overtake.
Crossing the line now, DHBW Stuttgart finishing their endurance with a fast time of a 74.454.
And 307, KRT, Karlsruhe back on track. And we're going to try and have a look what's going on with the Oxford Brookes car as they pass by our position again.
Mickey has brought out his binoculars again. Yeah, so the end cap of the exhaust has to come off, it appears. Mickey just had a look through his binoculars. What could you see?
Well, we could hear that part of the exhaust must be broken, but we could also see from our point of view that at least a small part of the exhaust of the Oxford Brookes car is missing, so that would explain the sound.
Yeah, maybe.
I think you can see the damper material from the exhaust blowing out.
Yeah, and also
meanwhile,
the
car from Wokla has joined the track.
Yep. Yeah, the team from Wokla this year came in first at the Italy competition and third in the Czech Republic competition. So this season they are doing very well and it deserved them now a current standing of 9th place on the world ranking list. So it's very good for them.
I'm sure whatever you just said was very interesting stuff, but Oxford Brookes is blasting by again as Karlsruhe posted the first time for their second driver of 78.12. Slightly more cautious start off the trip, but I don't know, maybe it was held up a little bit.
The one good thing about the Brookes car is the exhaust is facing the opposite side of the track as the commentator booth, so it doesn't sound quite as loud to us as the Darmstadt car did.
Quite curious to see what Wokla can do. They're now here in the horseshoes, now coming through the fast bit, now the tight bit. Fastest lap of any first driver so far was a 77. They managed to do an 82. I think due to the very, very loud car of Oxford, we missed out that the Weingarten car actually had a 73.6, which is almost the fastest time of the day. So they are equally fast as the Karlsruhe car, I must say.
Yeah, the Karlsruhe car isn't looking quite as quick as some of the other cars we've seen as it came through the corners past us that last lap.
So Brookes, well, a car is getting meatball flagged. I think it is Brookes.
They didn't even do that for the Darmstadt car, but they are now being ushered in.
Yeah, maybe the difference is that maybe mechanically there's also something wrong with the Oxford car. Then again, the Darmstadt car was louder even, so... Okay, on track, Mickey is pointing. Is that Karlsruhe, Mickey?
Yes.
Oh no. Let's see if they can restart. We cannot see what happened. I can remember last year for them ending very dramatically in the combustion field. I think it was almost exact same position. So Marshall's at the car. It's one of the biggest teams here. One of the biggest support crews also.
Well, this is happening. It looks like the driver from Brookes, Robin, is getting out of the car. The officials aren't happy with the exhaust being sort of blown open. It's like they're not going to be able to finish. The car is being pulled away by a push bar. Or pull bar, I guess, in this case.
So Weingarten not so fast. Maybe they were held up in the previous lap, but this is 76.4. but I'm actually more curious to see what is going on at the Karlsruhe car.
Brooks is DNF?
Yeah, Brooks is DNF. We just communicated that. Mickey, thank you.
Meanwhile, Chalmers have made it to the pit stops. I'm not sure if you guys had mentioned that.
No, there was a lot going on with the Brooks and Karlsruhe car, but indeed Chalmers is there for that pit stop. While also a new car is lining up, car number 45, the electric car from UAS St. Augustin. And finishing the endurance, car number 78, the team from Hamburg. So Rokla picking up the pace with a 79.9. The Weingarten car is slowing down. They were very fast just now. Oh no.
Driver's pulling off the track. It's not been a very good few minutes here. It was all going so smoothly as well, and then all of a sudden we've had 3 sort of incidents all happen at once.
I think it is looking very bad for Karlsruhe. They have been standing there for quite a time. Mickey is making a signal. You are in the Dynamics channel. Mickey, what can you tell us?
Well, they just confirmed that Kit has stopped trying to restart the car, and I think the marshals are about to push the car away. Yeah, that we can see the number of marshals running up to it to remove the car. It's in a potentially dangerous situation there. So, well, it's really unfortunate. They were really fast out on track, but it looks all over.
Yeah, that's really sad. The 2 very fastest combustion cars we've seen so far, the only 2 to actually push into the 73s.
And St. Augustine is now on track. They snuck past.
Sorry, Austin, but I do see the Weingarten car trying to restart their car. They just rolled a couple of meters under starting engine, so they are still trying. Meanwhile, let's give Karlsruhe a big hand, a very strong performance for them. Unfortunately, not being able to finish the endurance.
I can see the car being lifted up, so maybe even had a suspension problem or something.
Yeah, otherwise they probably won't do that.
Can see that.
And also the blue car there,
the St. Augustine
is also stalling.
On their very first lap.
At first I thought he was just slowing for the stricken Kit car, but it looks like he's having some problems of his own. Meanwhile, Rokla is still going.
Wow, what a 5 minutes this are.
And I can see the HV active light turn back on for Chalmers, and they're about to pull out of the pits as well. So some better luck for Chalmers.
Yeah,
Chalmers has had a very eventful first half with a couple of stoppages. Let's hope they can get through the second half a little bit more smoothly.
Yeah, so in line now are also the cars from Padova, and behind that I see the see-through cockpit of the team from Berlin, unmistakably.
And Chalmers rejoins the track, as it's still not looking very good for the car from St. Augustine.
So Mickey has his binoculars out for the team from Weingarten, but no information yet. I think marshals, yes, I get the driver is now going to go out.
Yeah,
also
the driver is out, unfortunately.
Yeah, give Weingarten a big hand. They had some very, very fast lap and very strong performance. Unfortunately for them, not able to finish.
It's also not looking for Augustin. They're being pushed off. Wow, after a pretty good stint with a lot of reliable finishes, all of a sudden there's a lot of cars dropping out. Let's hope Padova, who are about to join the action, do have a little bit better luck. Car 285, waiting for a green flag. First though, the Weingarten car will presumably be pushed off the track.
Yeah, so far we have seen 3 Italian teams on track, and all 3, I must add, have been able to finish the endurance. So let's see whether Padova and also later the Politecnico di Milano can match the performance of their fellow countrymen.
Yeah, final confirmation that St. Augustine is out of the race, unfortunately. Padova now being given the green flag and the rough.
And the first lap for the Chalmers second driver is very quick, a 77.9. It's only a few tenths of a second slower than the fastest lap of the car from the first driver. Can now see the car from TU Berlin, car 313, Approaching the starting line with a see-through cockpit. You can see the driver's legs at work. I confirm once again the driver is wearing pants. It's a bit of an issue for Chalmers as he exits the pendulum. He's stopped on course again. The other car is being directed around, going slowly.
Meanwhile, Padova is driving now in the infield on their first lap. Padova went to Italy this year. Unfortunately, they did not finish the endurance. They did finish the endurance last year here in Germany and came in overall 15th.
TU Berlin being shown blue flag, green flag.
And Chalmers is back again. So first way around for Padova. Let's check at the times. Looks very fast. It's an 83.8. So Rokla in again with fairly consistent times around the 82nd mark. They were all held up, however, this way around. So 87.2 for them. So next car approaching the grid, it is the fiery dragon car from Brunn, Czech Republic. They actually won their home event this year, so I think one of the teams also to look out for. The car is unmistakably theirs, being very black from the carbon fiber with white stickers and the fiery dragon and back. The team from Brunn, Czech Republic. Fast Tube Berlin in the first way round, an 81.3. And Padova with a very good improvement of 5 seconds and a 78.2. So it seems that Chalmers now is a bit stuck behind Rokla, or did they just overtake Austin?
I was just wondering the same thing myself. I think Chalmers is getting slowly closer to them over the past few laps. Maybe look at the blue flag shortly, because they are certainly keeping right up to the back of them.
Yeah, Rokla just now improving their fastest time with a 77.5, but also Chalmers setting a very, very fast time with a 75.4. So indeed, the Chalmers car isn't at the moment 2 seconds faster than the Rokla car, and that car is now being overtaken indeed by Chalmers. So next up here, getting the green flag now, or almost, is UAS Karlsruhe car number 399, while Brunn crosses the line in a very fast 79.29. So second lap for Berlin. Can the driver improve upon his first lap? Yes, they can. An impressive 4 seconds shaved off. Karlsruhe now at the green flag position, while Padova flies by, also in a very fast time of 76.3.
Yeah, the driver from Padova is really pushing. He's on the limit. He's just skimming some cones. He's in control, though he's not hitting any. So if he can keep it up for the rest of his run.
Let's see what UAS Karlsruhe's driver can do on his first lap. As TU Rokla is being shown the finish flag to come in for their driver change.
For the pit stop. The team from Brunn with the fiery dragon on the rear wing currently is 7th on their world ranking position, which is also the highest position that they've ever had. So very good for them. So coming around now, the team from Brunn on the last stretch before the start finish. I expect them to be a lot faster than the previous lap. Yes, it's a 75.6. I think they can go even faster though. I would expect a 74 or a 75 low also in the next minutes to come.
Back of the Padova car stepping out a little bit as the driver's now really pushing.
Berlin also improving with 1 second with a 76.2, while Padova is really flying. Yes, it's 75.9. Wow. So Rokla no, Karlsruhe, sorry. Karlsruhe for their first lap in a 78.6. It's a very fast first lap. While, well, I need to grab my Spotify for this.
Chalmers flying by again. Just joining the track, Coburg, 270. Felt the car couldn't continue anymore. Just making exasperated gestures. Maybe it's just the fact that he made a mistake of pulling in, or maybe there's actually something wrong with the car. He doesn't appear to be very responsive so far.
So Coburg coming round for their first run in a very respectable 79.016.
Part of a car is being pushed away. It's a DNF for them, unfortunately. I'm not sure what happened to that car. It was a very sudden end to their endurance.
And the car from Wroclaw being given the green flag for the second run.
They drove an impressive time on autocross yesterday. It's a shame to see them pull off so quickly. Only managing to finish 2 laps, but his second lap was already 16 seconds slower than his first one.
You can now see the car from the University of Washington, car number 269, will be the next one to take the green flag.
Yeah, and very quickly after they pulled in, just like Padova, it's being confirmed that car 270 from Coburg is unfortunately DNF. Not quite sure what happened to that car and to the Padova car for that matter.
Yeah, it is a shame for them. It's one of the nicest team we have around here. Always very eager to help us out with some good stories. Well, Germans get the last lap sign. It is also their 10th anniversary this year, so it's a shame for them. Cat Racing, give them a big hand. Unfortunately, not completing the endurance today.
Chalmers doing very well, yet again improving their time by the tiniest margin, 75.42, after driving a 75.47 a little while earlier. And we're about to be joined by Washington, car 269.
Yeah, car 269 from the University of Washington. The name of the car is the Aggressor.
US Karlsruhe, meanwhile, flying by the car from Wroclaw. Chalmers making their way through the very last portion of their endurance.
We see Washington stalling here before the green flag. We also saw them stalling yesterday a couple of times for the acceleration run. Has something to do with clutch engagement, but they are...
Thank you for that consideration, Washington. We really appreciate it.
Car 399, meanwhile, from US Karlsruhe, has just set the fastest lap for any combustion car we've seen today with a 73.042, getting ever closer to the 72s for the combustion cars as well. The Karlsruhe car, unfortunately, wasn't able to break that, even though their electric car did. But the who do we see passing by the last lap board, Steph?
Yeah, the team from Bern, Czech Republic, just got the last lap sign for their pit stop.
And TU Berlin gets the finish flag for their pit stop. And US Karlsruhe, as I said, driving very fast, right behind the Washington car, who are now being shown the blue flag.
And you'll see on the back of the Washington car's wing it says "one last ride." That's in reference to the fact that next year they'll only be building an electric car. This year they've built a combustion and an electric car. Next year it'll just be electric. But they were explaining to us they weren't able to bring the electric car here because of all of the regulations with shipping high voltage batteries.
Washington actually had a very quick first lap with a 78.398, but they were being pursued very harshly by the US Karlsruhe guys, who are just flying out there right now.
So meanwhile, Austin is taking a closer look at the pit stops that are taking place. Any highlights there, Austin?
No, I can confirm the second driver for TU Berlin is also wearing pants. They're just strapping him in now. It looks like the first driver is just giving some hints about the track to help him get up to speed a bit quicker.
So another car is entering, I presume that's the car from Brun for the pit stop.
See the car from Brun, all looking reasonably calm there.
Yeah, and the car from the first driver from US Karlsruhe is being given one last chance to dip into the 72s as he passes the last lap sign as well.
While Washington improves their own time with a 78.3.
Now, that is almost the exact same time as his first lap, but do remember that he was asked to enter the overtaking lane to let Karlsruhe pass. So I do think he'll pick up his speed a little bit further still.
So we have now 3 cars on track and 2 in the pit stop. I'm actually waiting until they will release the next car. The next car will be car 296, the team from Hamburg.
Looks like the steering wheel is going back on for the car from Berlin.
First driver of US Karlsruhe in the final last couple of corners of his stint. Let's see how fast this lap is going to be. Last one was a 73.8. And he's across the line in 72.5. Yes, a great improvement. And very squarely into the 72s, and he's in the driver change area.
And we now have the Karlsruhe car in the driver change area, like you just said, Thijs. Now 3 cars in here, very busy.
So it's quite amazing to see the Karlsruhe US team managing to have the very fastest lap in the combustion standings on their last lap. Usually what we see is just before they enter the pits area, they brake a little bit early, but this driver went flat out all the way until the pit stop.
Yeah, and only a couple tenths slower than the overall fastest time that we've seen from the electric car from Karlsruhe so far. So in both classes right now, a car from Karlsruhe is the fastest, even though it's not from the same team.
You can see the car from TU Berlin has completed their pit stop, and the driver's about ready to be given the green flag, and he's back off for the second half of endurance.
And I can also confirm that also this driver is wearing pants.
TU Brun, thank you, Steph. TU Brun is next to finish their pit stop, and they're just waiting to be released from the pit lane as well.
Yeah, good to see them back on track. Meanwhile, Washington comes by in a very good 74.498. Very consistent laps there from Washington.
Washington's car is sounding very good as it drives past. It's got a really nice tone to it.
Yeah, I guess there is no replacement for displacement. So Brun back on track.
Let's see what's going on in the pit stop area. US Karlsruhe has finished their driver change.
So also TU Berlin now comes through with their first lap of the second driver. The first lap of the first driver was at 81.2. This one manages to improve that by 2 seconds. So this driver is considerably faster right now. Of course, it can also be due to the car conditions. The tires are now warmer, the engine maybe is warmer. So very good result.
Steph, in the driver change area, meanwhile, it's 399. US Karlsruhe, we're just flying out there just now. The 72.5. They're having trouble, it seems. Driver struggling to restart the car. I actually don't even hear an engine cranking, but I can see the other team members by the car shaking their heads. Driver is still pushing buttons on the steering wheel and on the dashboard, shaking his head as well now. Let's hope they can restart the car, but it's not looking great for them.
The team from Wrocław, Poland, just got the last lap sign for their endurance. So the black and red car currently on their last lap. And something is happening.
The driver's jumping out of the car. I see smoke. It looks like the car may be on fire. I see fire extinguishers from the marshal very quickly.
Is that Washington?
I cannot tell.
So some action going on here also in race control. We saw some smoke coming out of the car. We can also now see some more smoke, but that is the fire extinguisher. I haven't seen the car from Washington come by in a while, so I think it's them.
I agree, Steph. I think it has to be Washington. I've seen all the other cars come by. It's very disappointing for them, but most importantly, the driver was able to get out safely, and he's all right, and the fire has been put out. Very good job from the marshals and the safety team.
Yeah, for a while it looked like we would need the firefighters, but they could stay here. Unfortunately, it's bad news for car 399, US Karlsruhe. They are now being directed to push the car out of the dynamic area, and I'm afraid it's a DNF for them. I'm not sure what was going on. I couldn't hear the car crank at all. Maybe it's more of a starter relay issue. They didn't seem to be able to restart the car at all.
So Peace has returned again. Let's give them a big hand. The teams from US, Karlsruhe and Washington, unfortunately not being able to complete endurance, but still give them a big hand from the grandstands. They deserve it.
Yes, and both cars, and especially Karlsruhe, are showing tremendous speed out there. Great shame that we can't see what the second driver could do. Meanwhile, Uni Kassel, 280, approaching the starting line.
Yes, they have very distinctive wings. What did the saying go again, Austin?
I think it's something like wood wings work.
I think they would. And they're off. Uni Kassel crossing the line now. Car number 280 with very distinct livery, black and green, and wooden wings.
The car from Bruno looking very smooth as he passes us, as does the Hawks car.
Yeah, the Hawks car actually setting a very fast time of 74.498 at this moment. Sorry, 74.458.
Two pretty interesting teams now lining up in the queue. It's car 202, Rennteam Stuttgart, and right behind them, their sworn rivals, 213, Oregon State University, GFR, Global Formula Racing. Right behind them, it's Milano Politecnico, 390. So that's three combustion cars right there, which all three might be able to break into the 72s or even below that as well. Let's see if they can break the current records from Karlsruhe.
Yeah, if we look at the statistics of the last 10 events that GFR and Rennteam Stuttgart participated in, GFR has managed to win 5 times of the last 10 events, while Stuttgart, an even more impressive figure, have been able to manage to win 7 of the 10 events they attended in the last years.
That is very impressive from both those teams. It looks like T. Bruno is taking out a cone while trying to keep Hawks behind him, but he is getting the blue flag and he lets him by eventually.
I think US Kassel, Uni Kassel will be the next victim, as car 202 Uni Stuttgart is lining up at the starting line.
So it is not just Uni Stuttgart, it is in fact Rennteam Stuttgart. We hear them cheering a lot on the grandstands. Give them a big hand when crossing the finish and start line.
That's a very big team represented here. Green flag for Stuttgart. Ever so smooth sounding engine. Let's see what these guys can do.
Yeah, some things never change over the years. One of them is the engine sound of Stuttgart.
You can see Stuttgart has a DRS system in operation to reduce the drag as they're accelerating down the straights, but to give them a bit more downforce in the corners. It's quite cool to see the wings move up and down.
Quite a few teams actually have tried to implement such a system. Not all of them actually use it on track though.
So a couple of lap times. Boone just made an 80.9. Oh wow, loud bangs coming out of the car. While the team from Kassel also had 80 flat, and the team from Hamburg is really flying with a 75.4.
All right, Stuttgart about to come through for the first time. Curious to see what they'll do. It's a 75.56, 5.8, very quick.
Yeah, it is the fastest first lap of any driver by quite a margin. The next best time of any first lap was a 76, so it's a very good time from them.
Now let's see how much time this driver will need to break into the 72s.
So Brun coming around again with a 79.8. They still require 3 laps. And also Berlin still requires 3 laps. We're now in the horseshoe section.
Stuttgart already approaching the final part of their second lap as they collect a couple of cones. It's the same cone that the Loughborough driver hit quite a few times earlier today. Let's see how fast the second time is.
Berlin with a very good time of 75.4, while car number 213, Oregon State / DHBW Ravensburg GFR Global Formula Racing, their cooperation is starting.
Now that it's going, it looks alright, but when it's going very slowly off the line, it was really juddering and shaking. It looked like it was going to fall apart. I think it's an issue at low speed, but when they're racing around, it's fine.
Stuttgart, from what I could see just now, did have a clean lap, even so their second lap was only marginally faster than the first one. It was a decent improvement, but let's see how much faster it can go in the next couple ones.
So Berlin here through the horseshoe sections, getting ready to get the last lap sign for their final lap of the day. Going very fast there, a little bit sideways, and they're off for their last lap.
All right, Stuttgart coming through. Another fairly small improvement, 74.4.
GFR is really flying also there. Wouldn't surprise if they have a very good time.
Yeah, it's 73 right away, 73.78. They'll be very eager to overtake the Stuttgart car that's driving right in front of them. They'll still have to cover some ground though.
And as GFR came past us, it either hit a rock or a big chunk of rubber flew off the tire, and it's come off the track. The officials kicked it out of the way. And Hawks have a cone right underneath their front wing.
Yeah, they just clipped it here in front of the start-finish line. Meanwhile, my favorite team to pronounce, the Politecnico di Milano, is getting ready.
And they're on track. Milano team.
Yep, the team from Milano this year in the Italy event came in second in endurance and also second overall, so one of the very top teams here present.
The driver of the 313 car very happy to finish the endurance. TU Berlin, congratulations.
Yes, very well deserved for them.
Meanwhile, Stuttgart's quite a bit faster than the previous lap with a 73.09. That is faster than Oregon State's first lap, but not quite as fast as their second one. It's a 72.7. Very cool to see the battle between those two teams now.
As usual, I might add.
Yeah, more recently we've seen them in the Fast 5 at the end of the day, but they had some issues during autocross yesterday, and both teams didn't get out until very late once it had started raining, so they weren't able to put in a representative lap time for the cars.
Yeah, the Stuttgart team had some issues with their engine, so they needed an engine swap, while Brunn completes the endurance in a very, very good average time of 78.534. Almost one of the fastest car. Berlin was a little bit quicker though.
Stuttgart driving really pushing now.
Yep, it's an improvement, albeit 100th of a second, 73.08.
Yeah, it's almost exactly matching his time, but let's see what GFR can do. 72.7 just now, 73.8, slightly slower, so Stuttgart was a bit faster in this lap.
Yeah, the Oregon State or the GFR and Stuttgart teams are struggling a little bit yesterday. Stuttgart had to do a full engine swap, and they have 3 engines. They're named Ashley, Gina and Trudy. So Gina didn't cooperate very well, so she has been swapped for another. While a checkered flag is being waved for the Hamburg team. I think it's for that pit stop. Yeah, it's for that pit stop. Stuttgart catching up on Milano.
Yeah, they got very close very quickly, going through the slalom now. Stuttgart will be eager to get past as soon as possible because GFR's behind them and catching up now.
Looks like Milano's going to be getting the blue flag. Will allow Stuttgart to go past.
Milano only on their second lap and doing a pretty good job, but 2 very fast teams right behind them. Stuttgart did feel that a little bit, I guess, but still 73.4, very quick. Let's see if GFR could make the best of this situation and catch up a little bit. So 73.6, almost matching their previous lap, not quite as fast as their fastest one.
At the green flag position here is car number 13, UES Munich, the electric car, getting ready for the green flag. And they're off. UES Munich, car number 13, being very quickly also yesterday. Let's see what they can do today. So the team from Kassel is about to get their last lap. Team members already getting...
Stuttgart and GFR both really pushing now. Both cars sliding quite violently with their rear ends. Stuttgart now closing in on Kassel very quickly. Kassel being asked to enter the overtaking lane. Stuttgart will be happy to overtake them.
And Steph having a quick pit stop to change the batteries in his microphone that cut out mid-sentence.
Pretty interesting curve for the GFR driver and how his lap times are progressing. He had a 73.8 in his very first lap, then a 72.7 in his second lap. But after that, his next 3 laps basically matched the pace of his very first lap, which is interesting to see.
The Stuttgart driver really pushing through the slalom. And the Stuttgart driver makes his way past us as we see the car number 296 from Hawks Racing Hamburg about ready to retake the track after their pit stop.
Guys, Stuttgart just drove a 71.688. It's the fastest time of the day. Quite a bit faster too than the Karlsruhe car from earlier, and quite a bit faster too than the Oregon State car, which is still buzzing along at the very, very steady pace of 73.7.
And so, Hawks Racing back out, sorry, Thijs.
Yeah, and Kassel just went in for their pit stop. I think the Stuttgart driver got maybe the message from the pit wall to push it a little bit more. We saw him clearly overdriving the car just a little bit more, but not too much because the time was really fast. I do think they may be able to be a little bit faster even this lap. They're looking good so far.
As the guys from Kassel make their pit stop and change the driver, I can see the car from US Esslingen lining up, car 294.
And there's the finish flag for the Stuttgart car. He's in for his driver change. 72, once again a very quick lap. The second fastest lap of today, in fact.
It is interesting also to see that the Milano guys are actually not too far behind from GFR. How is Milano doing, Thijs?
Well, GFR just put in another 74 very consistently. Milano is lapping at about 78, 79 seconds. Meanwhile, very good first lap for UAS Munich as well, 78.1.
Yeah, and also the first driver from Hamburg, very consistent first lap for their driver after the pit stop. Almost exactly matches the first lap of the first driver, which is a very good time.
US Munich almost exactly copying his second lap rather.
Yeah, the UES Munich indicated that their team goal was to finish all the dynamic events. The two drivers' names are Maximilian Schelle, nicknamed Kobold, and Felix Breuer, Dr. Flex.
And there are only a few more cars to come out before the top 5 shootout. I see the car from Amberg Weiden in line as well, as Stuttgart and Kassel both work on their pit stops.
GFR getting the last lap sign.
Yeah, continuing their very consistent streak, low 74.
Grandstands also really starting to fill up now. That's a good thing. Yep, and Unique Kassel are approaching the green flag again, so they have been able to complete the pit stop and are off for the next and last 9 laps. I do think GFR is pushing the last lap before the end of this stint, while Kassel gets the green flag and are off.
And GFR around the final few turns and get the flag to come in for their pit stop.
Yeah, and this is a very decent 74.8, while Milan is flying out there with his 75.5. So let me take a look at the pit stops of the cars now. We can see Stuttgart trying to restart. GFR now changing their driver. I can see the new driver stepping in. Stuttgart is still trying to restart, and as you might be able to hear, it is on and ready, allowed to go. He stalls it, unfortunately. So Stuttgart still trying to restart. Driver is resetting the dash kill every now and then. You can hear the starter motor. Now it is on. Please keep it running this time. Yes, he can.
We can also see the car from Kassel coming around to make their first lap of the second driver. He looks like he's flying as well.
Milano getting the last lap sign. And Stuttgart are off again. Not the cleanest pit stop I've ever seen from the Ren team. Took them a while to get the car restarted. Car stalled 1 or 2 times, but I'm very glad that they're back on track at the moment. While a new car is approaching the starting line, it is UAS Esslingen, car number 294. Esslingen at this moment is second in the combustion class world ranking. So we have now the reigning champions of the world ranking, the Ren team Stuttgart, and also any minute now UAS Esslingen, the number 2 in the world ranking, on track at the same time here in Hockenheim. And they're off.
Meanwhile, at the driver change of the Oregon State University Global Formula Racing car, the scrutineers are having a look at the rear end of the car. They seem to be particularly interested in the left-right suspension. Let's hope everything is all right. The new driver is in the car and he seems to be ready to go.
Milano for the pit stop. So Milano for the pit stop. Sorry, Thijs.
There's some discussion going on now between the previous driver and one of the scrutineers.
Car from Hawks Racing Hamburg still going around, as is the car from UAS Munich.
Munich with a very fast time of 77.19. Big improvement for them. Kassel going sideways here past start finish.
And the driver for Kassel is actually a few consecutive fastest laps, so the car is 73.988.
Meanwhile, Esslingen sets a 74 flat in their first run, almost as fast as the first run of GFR.
Wow, that's very impressive. But speaking of GFR, there's still discussion going on around the back end of that car. Scrutineers do seem to have some fluid on a piece of paper, and they're deciding now whether to let the car continue or not.
On a more positive note, Ren team Stuttgart heavily improving the best time of the day with a 71.1. Wow.
Guys, I have bad news. GFR is out. Car 213 has unfortunately been DNF'd. I think some fluid was found at the rear left of the car, and they will unfortunately not be able to rejoin the action on track. It's a great shame. They were very fast out there just now. Please give them a big hand.
UAS Munich being shown the last lap board before they come in for their pit stop.
I am, although, very curious to see what Esslingen can do on their second lap. First lap was very fast. It is also a 71.5. Wow, that's a fast time. Stuttgart even faster. Below the 71 seconds is 70.9. The reigning number 1 and 2 in the world ranking really showing off their skills here, Austin.
Yeah, they're really pushing. I think they're a bit angry they're not in the final 5, but that doesn't stop them from going fast.
Milano, meanwhile, trying to restart the car after an otherwise successful... yes, they have restarted the car after a successful driver change.
So Hamburg again, car number 296 with a 77.69.
Here we have UAS Munich coming in for their driver change now.
So Kassel now coming up. The last lap was a 73.6, which was very fast. Can they improve it even further? And it's a 73.8.
Esslingen looks like they're flying as well. What was their lap time, Steph?
Yes, it's unbelievable, Austin. It's a 71.0. It's, well, almost a second slower. Stuttgart, who even more improved their time with a 70.117.
And Milano is back on track to join the fray. We'll see what this driver can do, if he can match times that Stuttgart and Esslingen are setting.
Yeah, we just talked about the final 5, who supposedly are the fastest cars. Meanwhile, we see some action at the Noordkurve. Can't see from here. I still see Stuttgart driving, Hamburg driving. I see Milano drive, well, then it must be Kassel, no? Yes, unfortunately this is Kassel. They are stopped. Hope they can get it restarted again.
They actually did have a pretty good run just now. Their second driver significantly faster than the first one with a couple of 73s.
And the Hawks have just been showed the last lap board.
Fun fact is that the average times of Esslingen are now lower than, well, faster as Stuttgart's average times. Of course, they have only 3 laps in, now 4 with a 72.6, a little bit slower than the previous lap.
Yeah, Esslingen does have a very convincing start of this endurance, but here comes
Kassel is
Stuttgart
back again, Thijs. Kassel is back again. Very good for them.
That is good to see. Stuttgart, meanwhile, with another 71. Now backing up a little bit. And meanwhile, we have the very last car to start before the final 5. Approaching the starting line right now. It's Amberg-Weiden, car number 23, electric car.
Yeah, it's impressive from Stuttgart at 71, despite having to slow down for the yellow flags that they had to go past.
Kassel going sideways here in the wings area. Well, Amberg-Weiden has joined the fray. Car number 23, one of the 2 electric cars driving now. The other one, of course, being UES Munich. They are now in pit stop. So Hamburg round again, Thijs. What do we see? Ah, they're finished.
Yep, they're across the line. They had a 77 in that last lap. Congratulations to them. Esslingen coming through again, a 72.
Got Stuttgart coming around again. He's looking quick. How quick?
Wow.
Yes, there we go. 69 and low immediately. Very quick, even second faster than his fastest so far.
So with Esslingen slowing down just a little bit and Stuttgart improving even further, their average lap times are so close now. It's very cool to watch your timekeeping dashboard.
Yeah, the Stuttgart guys can now see the Esslingen car driving in front of them, so they have something to aim for. Esslingen car is driving really fast as well, though, so it'll be a while for Stuttgart to overtake them.
Whoa, Stuttgart with a power slide through the wing section of the course. He just clips 1 cone. And US Munich back on track after their pit stop.
All right, let's see what Stuttgart is going to do. As Esslingen blasts by in a 72 flat, and another 69er for Stuttgart, 69.5.
The 69 low, the 69.0 that Stuttgart just drove, is more than 3 seconds faster than the fastest lap time of last year, when it was a little bit better for track conditions, I do believe. So what we are seeing this year is very, very impressive from all the teams, but especially, of course, the fastest lap time of the day from Stuttgart, while Milano crosses the line with a very, very good 74.766, almost matches their fastest time of the day.
You can see Amberg-Weiden coming past us to complete their first lap, and they've also got a DRS system in use to cut down and drag down the straights.
Yeah, it's their second lap. It's a 73.9, very good for a second lap.
Kassel for their last lap of the endurance race.
Yeah, they've picked up their pace from where they were after that hold up a while ago. As US Munich comes through for the first lap of their second driver with already a very quick 76.7.
And Stuttgart being given the last lap board.
Now consistently lapping below the 70 seconds, very impressive.
I really can't believe that they got the last lap sign already. From my feeling, they're just out.
They are. And they actually have now pretty much closed the gap to the Esslingen car.
Yeah, and at this moment also their average lap time is considerably faster. Let's see what the second driver for Esslingen can do after that pit stop. So getting ready here, the officials, to give Kassel the checkered flag.
Stuttgart now right on the tail of the Esslingen car.
And Kassel finishes
So close, in
endurance.
fact.
Kassel finishes endurance, a very good finish for them.
And Stuttgart as well.
So give them a big hand, the teams from the Rennteam Stuttgart and the team from Kassel. Very well done, guys. Impressive drive, both of you. So within Delft we have a term for when you're driving very fast. It's called boeken.
Yes, indeed. That was awesome to see from Stuttgart, wasn't it? It was like every lap was a fastest lap, and wow, that was pretty amazing.
Hard boeken, very hard.
Hard boeken.
So meanwhile, another car is very hard on boeken. It's Ambeck Weiden with a 73.295, so very fast in the electric class there. Not the fastest car of the day. They come around now in the 74, but it's a very fast lap times.
Yep, the Karlsruhe car that drove in the morning session still has the fastest electric time of the day.
In the pit area, the team from Stuttgart getting some applause, while Esslingen
come in for the driver change.
Let me see if I can get an interview from the driver of Stuttgart.
Wow, UES Munich quite significantly improving his time.
So I'm walking through the dynamic area here. Esslingen doing their driver change, looking very composed there. Scrutineers checking the car. From a distance I don't see anything too weird. While I approach the Stuttgart guys, who are now at the refueling area.
So in die Kurve reinrutschen. Nein.
A lot of tower squeal from the UES Munich car. Let's see if we can even improve further even. 73.68 just now. It's a 73.52. He has a basically clear track in front of him now.
So the second driver from the Stuttgart team busy with the refueling. As soon as he's done, let me try and get a word with him. But now I'm first standing here next to, what's your name?
Julian.
Hi Julian, a very impressive drive there.
Thank you.
Do you know that it was more than 3 seconds faster than the fastest time from last year?
No, actually not, so no.
It was a really impressive drive. Let me go up to the driver while he takes his helmet off. Hi, what's your name?
Hey, I'm Matthias. Servus.
Servus. A very good drive, Matthias. Do you know how fast you were?
Yeah, they told me something like 69. That's more lap time for the Hawks, I guess, but I take it as well, yeah.
Have you got any idea what the fastest lap time was last year on the same track?
Nah.
It was a 72 or a 73. Thijs will probably correct me after, so you were 3 seconds faster in your fastest lap.
Oh, that's awesome, yeah. Cool.
Yeah, congratulations, great drive.
Well, we had a very happy driver there. As we could see the UES Munich car coming through once again. And it's 75 now.
And Milano's still going. They're been steady so far. They've only got a few laps left. We've not spoken about that much with all of the heroics from Stuttgart and Esslingen, but Milano's putting in some really good times as well.
So walking back to the double tent, Esslingen still in driver change. Second driver now with thumbs up in the car, getting wished luck from the other guy. His helmet has a mustache on it, so let's see if it can help him in his second run.
And Milano now on their last lap. Everybody cheer them on as they make one final circuit around the endurance circuit here.
All right, Esslingen being shown the green flag. Yeah, they're back out on track. Car 294. They were very quick just now. Basically the only team so far to sort of keep up with Stuttgart. Let's see how their second driver does.
I think I just saw Amberg-Weiden take out several cones going through Lost Chain corner. Not 100% sure it was them, but I'm almost positive.
Sieht doch gar nicht so nach Spielzeugautos aus, wenn man es auf der Kamera sieht.
Milan just set their fastest time so far, 74.1, but more importantly, he's now driving towards the finish flag and they are across the line and they have finished the endurance. Car 390, congratulations.
So give them a big cheer, the Politecnico di Milano finishing the endurance.
Molto bene.
See.
Amberg-Weiden, last lap for this driver. Let's see what the second driver can do in his first lap for Esslingen.
The first driver's first lap was already a 74 flat.
Whoa, and UAS Munich getting sideways through the horseshoe. He managed to catch the drift before he spins all the way around.
Second driver a little bit faster even than the first driver, so very good times there. Let's see if they can push even further. Meanwhile, UES Munich is still whizzing around very fast. They still have 2 laps to go.
Yeah, they did hold back a little bit in the last couple of laps compared to their very fastest time. They only have a lap and a half to go until the end of this endurance for them. As the first driver of the Amberg-Weiden car makes his way through his last couple of corners. And past the finish flag into the driver change area. And we're about to see what the Esslingen driver, second driver, can do on his second lap. 73.8 just now and a 72.3 already. I think the UAS Munich car has lost some speed, but they're still going. They now have 1 lap to go. Comparable time to their previous one.
So we have something going on. It's in the refueling area.
Yeah, there is a car on fire in the fuel area, but everything does appear to be under control.
Ich bin schon maximal, sorry.
And Esslingen continue to circulate around the track. It's continuing their smooth run.
So I'm going to take a look which team that was.
I think everyone is okay from what we can see from here.
Yeah, it's very controlled, so nothing really here, but still eager to know. It is not Amberg-Weiden who are in pit stop. They are looking very controlled.
Esslingen's driver nearly matches his previous fastest time. Not quite as fast as the first driver yet, though. All right, UAS Munich. Now in his very last couple of corners. They were driving out about at 73.5 earlier. More like 78 in the last couple of laps, but he's across the line. That's all that matters for now. And again, a 78. Congratulations to them.
So Thijs, it was the Politecnico di Milano. So small fire here in the car from Milan. Fire brigade now checking the car. Very professional, very controlled, no panic whatsoever. So very good organized, luckily.
Yeah, that must have been like a 20-second response time.
And yeah, what a great finish for US Munich. Had to conserve some energy at the end, but made it to the end of endurance. Congratulations to them.
Yeah, very controlled. They could clearly see that their battery presumably was getting a little bit low towards the end, but they managed that very nicely. And congratulations to them as Esslingen's second driver is coming around again. And now he too is in the 71s. It's 71.48. Only 0.4 of a second off his fastest time of this car.
Coming back on track now is the car from Amberg Weiden. Getting the green flag, car number 23 rejoins the track for the second run. So for the guys in the grandstands, we currently see a little bit of smoke, but it's not the fire, it's just the fire truck's generator, I believe. So nothing to worry about whatsoever.
Esslingen lapping in the low 71s.
Yeah, it's pretty ironic that the fire brigade right now is actually generating quite a lot of smoke, but it's just a very dirty engine.
Okay, back on track. Amberg Weiden with the first pass of the second driver. And it is a very good time of a 74.9. Their first driver's first run was only a 76.2. So it's yeah, quite a little bit faster, 1.2 seconds.
All right, Esslingen's driver, meanwhile, now consistently lapping in the 71s. Let's see if he can get it to 71.0 or even into the 70s. Again, a 71.4.
So the average lap time from the Stuttgart team was a 71.9. So anything that Esslingen drives below the 71.9 is basically good for them. So they're now doing so. So very close competition between the Stuttgart team and the Esslingen team.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see that of course we saw the second driver from Stuttgart just blisteringly fast. But the first driver actually wasn't quite as fast, about 3 or 4 seconds slower per lap than the second driver. Whereas the Esslingen drivers seem to be a bit more evenly matched. As such, the average speeds for both cars are still very close. Perhaps a bit closer than you would expect based on the very fast times of the second driver for Stuttgart.
Then again, with all the drama going on around the track also, but also on track, I have absolutely no idea about how clean all the runs were. We didn't really see the cones from here.
I have to say that Esslingen is enjoying this massive empty track with just them and Amberg Weiden going around at the same time. Nobody's getting anybody's way or causing yellow flags. So I think they're really making the most of the situation they're in as well.
It's a 70.77, very good. There it is. This second driver for Esslingen is now actually the fastest driver for Esslingen. And that pushes their average even closer to that of Stuttgart.
So Amberg Weiden coming round again with a very consistent time of a 74.039.
The Amberg Weiden car is actually by a margin the fastest electric car on average we've seen so far today. The US Munich car was pretty fast as well. But of course there are a couple of very fast electric cars that are coming up. So I'm probably pretty sure we'll see some fast times from them as well. Meanwhile, Esslingen coming through again.
They're getting a last lap signal this time. Can you tell us what the lap time is, Thijs?
Yeah, it's a 70.78 again. So So that is pretty cool. It's only 13 milliseconds off his previous time. Super consistent. Let's see what he can do in his final lap.
I will just say he's just hit one cone or two cones going through the Nord curve section of the track in his last lap, showing he's really still pushing, trying to extract all of the performance out of the car. Amberg Weiden still going around.
The average lap times for Stuttgart and Esslingen, and of course that doesn't take into account any cones, but right now their average lap times are off by only a couple hundredths of seconds. If this final lap for the Esslingen second driver is quick enough, they might be able to beat Stuttgart for the total time for the endurance. And might then very well come down to cones. If one of them has one or two more than the other, then that might be the decision. And they're across the line in another 70 seconds lap. It's 70.8. Congratulations to them.
A great endurance run for Esslingen.
Thijs and me are enjoying the milliseconds. The average lap time for München was 71.973 for Stuttgart, sorry, and for Esslingen it's 71.951. So on average, the lap time difference was
22 milliseconds.
22 milliseconds. That's unbelievable.
And the advantage there is, perhaps surprisingly, for Esslingen. On average, they were slightly quicker than the Stuttgart car. Very impressive drive for them. Many congratulations for finishing.
Yeah, so Esslingen was faster as Stuttgart overall, and that's very impressive. These are the kind of situations where one cone more or less makes the difference. And Mickey, we have had that in the past, that one cone makes the difference.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. I mean, hitting that extra cone can cause you a couple of seconds penalty, and in the end, that's a couple of points even. And we've seen competitions being won or lost by 2 points, so or even less. So yeah, it's very, very important to drive cleanly around here.
Yeah, a very well drive from the teams from Stuttgart and Esslingen.
Yep, let's see how many cones each of them got. Whoever got the least will win the endurance, I guess, or at least will be the fastest out of those two. Of course, there still is one car left to see in the combustion class. Because in the final five, we still have the car from Munich, TU Munich, and the car from Graz TU. Both of whom are very quick, as we've seen yesterday.
The driver for Amberg Weiden is just safely getting around the track. He's not pushing nearly as much as the Esslingen or Stuttgart drivers were, but still setting competitive lap times, getting car to the finish, which is what you can ask for. I don't think I've seen him hit any cones either.
Yeah, you can see this for the electric cars. In general, they are able to set very, very fast autocross times. Then again, in order to preserve energy for the endurance, some of the electric cars have to screw down a little bit the overall power output, make him then a little bit slower sometimes in the final endurance. However, I don't think that will be the case for the teams we will see in the final five, right, Thijs?
Well, that is a trend that has been going down a little bit in previous years. I think last year the fastest overall car was in fact an electric car. So it will be very interesting to see how the electric cars that are about to take to the track will deal with this and what sort of strategy we'll choose. Of course, there are other reasons you can throttle back as well. For example, thermal issues, if you expect not to be able to make it through if you drive at full power. But meanwhile, behind me we can see the first couple of cars lining up for the final five. I can see the combustion cars from TU Graz and TU Munich. And in the distance the green team Stuttgart is rolling up, and I can see Delft as well. So we're still waiting for the fifth car. I haven't seen the Zurich car yet.
Now Amberg Weiden crosses the line. They've just got 2 laps left now.
Vier bleibt so, ja?
So this final five thing, we didn't have that every year, did we, Austin?
No, I think it's started within the past 6 or 7 years, if I'm right.
Yeah, that is correct. I think the idea of the final five was born, well, accidentally actually. How did that go, Mickey?
Well, a long time ago.
A long time ago, when you were still driver.
Exactly. There was an endurance event here in Hockenheim as well. One of the cars blew up an engine. It was Torino, I believe, and laid a lot of oil out on the track. And they had to clean that. So the last 3 cars were put on hold before the track was cleaned. And those 3 cars were Stuttgart, Delft, and Braunschweig. And before you knew it, it was quite an exciting final. And it was very, very close between those 3 cars. That was the same year that Stuttgart lost well, the chain in the end. So after that, the organization decided to have that every year, a final 5, which is obviously very, very exciting for the audience.
Yeah, and meanwhile, while we were telling stories from the past, the Umberg-Weiden car got the last lap sign. Very good for them. Let's hope they can complete.
Yeah, they've just got over half a lap to go now. Fingers crossed they can make it to the end.
Yeah, their last couple of rounds were fairly consistent. The last lap was a little bit slower than the lap before that. So I think they are going to limp it home.
Irgendwann ist vorbei.
Making their way through the wing section of the course.
Yeah, you can clearly see that the car is a little bit less snappy than it was in the beginning. Presumably low on battery.
Still keeping it clean though. I've only seen them hit very few cones.
I think it's one of the cleanest runs we've seen of the day. Well, they passed the last horseshoe corner into the fast section, into the tight section here, and they get across the line the checkered flag for Umberg-Weiden, car number 23.
Yeah, this car too seemed to throttle back a little bit towards the end of their stint, but still pretty consistent, finishing with an 80.8. Congratulations to them.
Hört jetzt einfach auf.
All right, now I think we'll have a little break as everybody's preparing for the final 5.
So while we have this little break, Austin and me are going downstairs. We're going to inside the dynamic area, also followed by Mickey, to see the preparations of all the cars. Austin, what can you see?
You can see the teams just making the final adjustments to the cars, strapping the drivers in. The officials just doing their final technical inspections. Everyone looks very calm down here, very composed. The driver from Munich eyeing me up as I walk past.
I do believe I miss a car.
Yep, we still haven't seen the guys from Zurich.
Usually their Swiss punctuality is impeccable. I do hope that they don't have any real issues which prohibit them to drive this afternoon. I'm not so well informed. Mickey, have you any updates on Zurich whatsoever?
No, I have not heard anything, but I do believe that Thijs is going for a walk, so let's see what we can find out.
Yeah, let's send Thijs into the paddock while I hold this microphone in order not to have too much static. So Austin, lined up we have from left to right.
We've got TU Delft, TU Graz, TU Munich, and University of Stuttgart green team. And all the cars are looking very, very smart, very, very fast.
So it is 50-50 combustion and electric.
At the moment it is, yes. It'll be interesting to see how they compare on track.
Yeah, it's very nice. Also we can see well, quite some different concepts being applied. We can see the 2 electric teams. They are fairly similar. A big difference that we can see from here is that the tires on the Delft car are a little bit smaller than on the Stuttgart car.
Yeah, that's correct. I believe Delft uses some custom designed Apollo tires that they've worked on very hard. Maybe you could tell us a bit more about those stuff. Well,
I'm really not the expert on this field. But yeah, for a couple of years now, the Delft guys have been iterating their tire designs in close cooperation with the tire manufacturer. In terms of tires, yeah, the Delft team drives on their own custom tires. All the other teams I can see currently on Hoosier tires. Presumably they're also the R25Bs, but I have to check it out on the design spec sheet. The drivers are currently in the cars, visors still open, so we can see their, well, they are concentrated faces. Some are a little bit happier than others, some are very focused. They're all strapped in.
I can confirm that Green Team Stuttgart is on the R25Bs, however TU Munich is on the LC0s. Just going over to check Graz now. And TU Graz is on the LC0s as well.
All right. So what do we know more about these cars? The car from München we know, right? They were here also last year, I believe.
Yeah, the car from Munich was very quick and they ended up winning the competition overall last year. I know they've had some reliability issues throughout this weekend and also throughout some of the other competitions, so it'll be interesting to see if this speed can be translated into a finish or if they're going to be struck by that bug once again.
Yep, also the TU Munich car has a very exuberant aero package. What can we see from up close here, Austin?
Yeah, it's got two very tall middle wing sections. They look almost like cheese graters or something. So many winglets I can't even count.
Yeah, and then if we go back to the Stuttgart car, they won the very first electric competition with their green team. So they are originally they were alumni from the Ren team. I'm quite sure that some of them are also on the grandstands. I saw one or two for design judging earlier. Now they are two separate teams, so they build a completely different car, whereas other teams, like the team from Karlsruhe and I think also the team from München, build more or less similar cars for the electric teams. Is that true also for the team from München, Mickey?
Yes, we do know that some of the teams make their own decisions within the team. So sometimes you get two separate teams building their own design, let's say. And obviously, if you're building an electric car, it does make sense. Well designed. Often make it also to design finals. So well, they usually are up there. Sometimes they lack some speed on track, but this year they seem to have it well all together.
Yeah, all of these teams, I would say they are usual suspects, no?
Yes, there are. Well, yes. If we look at the finalists of the previous years, then a lot of these guys are in there every time. So that's always very nice to see the same guys. But sometimes you have a newcomer, which is also very good to see.
Yeah, that is very good. Meanwhile, we can hear the one of the combustion cars. I think it's the
in the final five have a very good car, a very reliable car, but sometimes even they build a car which just doesn't make it through the end.
And maybe this is what they call the Swiss punctuality.
Yeah, the driver's still got to get his helmet on and everything. They've really got a lot of work to do to get back up to where all the other teams are with their preparations. You can see the team hustling quite a lot to get to that point. Frank's helping out, giving the driver his helmet. Yeah, the tension is building down here. The Zurich guys are very busy getting the drivers strapped in. All of the other teams letting their engines warm up, getting ready to go.
So if we look at the events since 2000 and, well, let's take 2010. The winners in 2010 were Delft, with still their combustion car. The electric competition in 2010 was Stuttgart, the green team. Combustion 11, GFR. Electric 11, Delft. Combustion 12, Stuttgart. Electric 12, Delft. Combustion 13 GFR, Electric 13 Delft, Combustion 14 GFR, Electric 14 Zurich, Combustion 15 again GFR, Electric 2015 again Delft, and then last year something happened. We had Combustion 2016 München, the car we also see here, and Electric 2016 Karlsruhe Kid Racing. We saw them earlier today. So yeah, this is quite interesting.
It looks like Green Team Stuttgart's been given the wave to be the first team out to the green flag.
Wow, now it will start, Austin. I'm quite anxious to see all these cars on track and to see whether they will be able to break the unbelievable time that the Rennteam Team Stuttgart set earlier. So yeah, let's wait and find out. The green flag now is up. And the green flag for the green team, Rennteam, Green Team Stuttgart, flying off. Followed closely by München. Getting the green flag now, TU München Combustion, followed by TU Graz. Getting the green flag now, TU Graz, followed by car number 85, Delft. And Delft is also off, followed by, well, so far for Swiss punctuality, but they are there. Yes, followed by car number 33, ETH Zurich. And they're off.
Oh, and the driver for Green Team Stuttgart really pushing through the horseshoe. And TU München equally as hard.
So just a short reminder, the fastest combustion car we saw was a 69.0, fastest electric car a 72.1, and already a 72.5 for Green Team Stuttgart. München coming through, 72.0, very close. Let's see what Graz can do. Can they match into the 72s? Are they equally fast? Yes, they are. It's also a 72.8. Let's see for Delft. Clipping a cone there, Delft. Across the line in a 74.8. It's a little bit slower than the others. Maybe they will pick up the speed.
Looks like Graz is taking out a cone going through the kink, sort of in front of the VW trailer.
So Zurich did start a little bit later, so not so following closely, so Delft so close. Across the line in a 74.5, so we have 3 cars in the 72s, 2 in the 74s.